Hello again, friends! And you are our friends. I'm screaming again. Welcome back to another edition of Jim Cornette's Drive Thru.
Bellowing.
I'm your host, the great Brian Last. We're going to have fun today. The random conversation and topics continues on to the Drive Thru here this week. No reviews. It's a wonderful day with this man, the leader of the cult of Cornette, Mr. Jim Cornette.
Oh, good Lord. You basically, what happened there is you just screwed it up completely about 3 seconds in, and rather than admitting it and starting again, you decided to do a take on it. And it sounded like a Muzak version of a drunk doing a piano solo from a Billy Joel album.
Well, first of all, that's my sound, and I don't really think you are in any position to criticize that specific sound, which hasn't taken off yet, but it's early in the day.
It's early in the century.
And
the millennia.
I played everything I intended to. I played everything the way I intended to, how I intended to. It could be the microphone. That's an admission, then, that should be admissible in court. You just admitted that you did everything you intended to do. I rest my case. And why are you impugning my musical integrity when I'm a musical genius? I bellow forth the octaves and things on a regular basis here on the program. People have put my pearly tones to the rap music and the stuff the kids listen to out there on the interwebs. You found octaves that Mariah Carey couldn't find. Some of your singing.
Well, see there? Oh. I was looking in a different place.
More people hate Mussolini today than back then because of you just saying his name or singing his name.
Singing and saying, I'm singing his praises. But I'll have you know that I'm a wonderful, cunning linguist there when it comes to it's interpretation. It's like Sinatra. He wasn't a classical stylist. It was all about his interpretation. My interpretation is what drives this train here, baby. And I'm not happy to begin with now, especially after that assault on my eardrums that you played here. But again, the weather is not cooperating, Brian. I saw the stupidest thing that I've seen in a week or two that a human being has done this morning. And I want to relate this to you. And it ties into the weather.
Okay.
A week ago, we had 5 inches of snow on like Monday, December the fucking 2nd or whatever it was, right? And that is the record amount of snowfall. I mentioned this on the program that we did right afterwards for that date in Louisville, because we don't get snow this year. The average temperature is supposed to be 48, 49 degrees, right? That's like 4.5 inches. The 5 inches of snow was 4.5 inches above the average snowfall we're supposed to get for this time of year. Have you noticed these averages are flopping these days? The averages, we're way off. Anyway, so then because it was so cold all week, it didn't get above freezing. It took until 6 days later, the following Sunday afternoon, for all the snow to melt off of my yard here, because we're still waiting to do the last cleanup from the leaves and everything. I believe I mentioned, because of that big giant red oak tree on my neighbor's property, it's still got leaves on it. Anyway, so it finally melted off on Sunday afternoon, and I thought, well, my yard guys can get over this week. And guess what it did on Monday? It snowed again, another like 1.5 inches or whatever here, just enough to cover everything back up again. And what the fuck? And now we're like 6 inches above our average of snow. And they say it's gonna warm up for the next day or so, then rain, and then turn really cold. And it's going to be down in single digits or the teens in the outlying areas. But nevertheless, this morning, where there is still snow, not deep, but snow of some description on all of the grass and the everywhere, right? You can see the tall grass poking up through it, that kind of snow, but it's snow on 85-90% of the area. Guess who pulled up in my neighbor's yard this morning to do his final leaf cleanup? Landon, my old landscaping idiot that I fired for being an idiot and not doing my leaves right and banished him a couple years ago. He still does, the guy next to me and the woman on the other side of me. And they actually got their the riding mowers off the trailer, and the one guy drove from his driveway down past my fucking place on the road, his stand-up mower to the neighbor ladies, and started in. I've never seen anybody run a lawnmower over snow-covered ground before.
I've never seen that. No.
They started doing this. They started to, I opened the garage door about 8:39, no, 8:45 this morning to let Bernie Sanders and his friend out, right? And I look and there's this trailer sitting there and they're just starting to unload the stuff. And I heard them and I saw the mowers going and blah, blah, blah. And about 45 minutes later, and believe me, if they do both of these properties, they would be here for, normally they would be here for 3 hours to do both of them together. 45 minutes later, they're loading their shit back up on the trailer and driving the fuck off. I don't know what the fuck they thought they were doing. But you couldn't cut it. And you couldn't do the leaves because there was snow on it. He's running the lawnmower over like a thin 3/4 inch coating of snow on the ground.
See, I almost wish you didn't fire him back then, just so you could fire him now. Just so you can tell this story and it ends with, I said, what the fuck are you doing? And you fired him.
So now I know that he's also, another of his services is he can mulch your snow for you.
The unexpected return of Landon to the show. We'll see,
Landon's back, baby, and 10 points stupider.
So I guess they're going to come back at some point to finish the job that they.
I didn't ask him, but I bet they probably will. Yes, at some point. I don't know what they did. They just, and I heard it mowing, and then boom, and they're back up and gone.
Are either of these two neighbors familiar with your situation with Landon and how fed up you were and that you fired him?
I've told the neighbor lady. And the guy on the other side of me it was actually the way that I found Landon to begin with. So he's his responsibility. So I have a feeling that he probably knows that we had a parting, but I haven't explained it to him from my standpoint yet.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get another Landon update before the end of the year. That'd be lovely.
I'll let you know if he comes. Here's the thing. I don't know if we're going to get uncovered or not enough to do this. It's highly vexing. My guys
never stopped him before.
Well, no, my guys are on standby, but they're not going to come and mulch my snow. They're going to wait till if it gets that warm, a non-freezing day with no snow on the ground is what we're looking for. And did I mention, it's supposed to be like 49 fucking degrees at this time of year. I don't like this.
Can you mulch my snow?
That should be some kind of weird sexual practice. Hey, baby, you want to mulch my snow?
Robert F. Kennedy was seen in a text message saying,
no, you've ruined it for me now. I'm trying to have fucking sex with a goddamn dried up suitcase.
Well, Jim, no one's asking you to do that, but what people are asking you to do is fulfill orders at Cornette's Collectibles from JimCornette.com. What's going on?
Fortunately, not as many people are asking as have been. We have battled our way back. Poor Hotchkiss has got to creep and crud. He's sick. He's battling through it. He's performing on schedule, but he just feels like shit. But if you order, basically, If you ordered through December the 5th, then your order will be in the mail by December 12th, except for 12 other packages that will be in the mail shortly thereafterwards. And anything through the 11th is going to be mailed by the 17th, which domestically is the United States Post Office's cutoff date for Christmas delivery. And you know how that goes. We're dealing with one of these agencies. And you're probably not going to hear this, you out there in podcast land, the cult of Cornette, until after the 11th. So please still order, but don't expect it until after New Year's, because you've almost beaten us. We're worn to a frazzle, but we appreciate the support for the holiday sales season. And as I said, it's basically then Brian, a physical possibility of turnaround time between when can we get the order, when can my eyes see it, my hand sign it, me get it to him, he stick an envelope or a label on it and mail it, and that time is probably already passed that it's going to get there before Christmas. JimCornette.com.
That's right, JimCornette.com. People loving heroes and friends. Stay tuned for Bums and Scoundrels next year.
It's going to be a whole line like that. Then it'll degenerate into random English pub names like the Pig and Whistle and the Slap and Tickle and whatever the fuck else.
Well, Jim, even though we have no reviews, we have a ton of topics to hit and we have a lot of questions. So we're going to really pack this show with a lot of stuff. And we're going to start with some rather sad news. Someone who you've spoken with on the show in the past, Steve Regal, Mr. Electricity. Word came out over the weekend, I saw it on Facebook, that he had passed away apparently a little while back and word didn't get out. Let's talk a little bit about Steve Regal.
Well, and I'm so in the dark still about how the word didn't get out, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And just for the sake of it at the top here, not the Steve Regal that is now William Regal, that competed early in his career with William Regal, WWE, everybody knows. But he wrestled as Steve Regal early in his career, but that was after the Steve Regal that we're talking about now, who his real name was legitimately Steven Regal. It was perfect. It was perfect for a fucking wrestler, right? But Steve Regal, who, as you mentioned, had been here on the show way back. We figured it out at 7 years. That, you know, since that spot had been done, and we're working on putting that up on the YouTube channel so that people can hear it. But it's just a great guy overall, I thought. And I was really sad to hear this. I didn't know, you know, everybody says, I didn't know he was sick, but I didn't know anything was wrong. I had last heard from him. We would every once in a while send Twitter messages or whatever the kids call them back and forth. And I get the idea Steve wasn't he was probably a little more conversant in the technology than I was, but like he somehow texted a Happy New Year to me this past January, but it went to the orders email from his phone number. I don't know how that even worked. But he was famous at first, and then later on kind of outgrew the territory and became a name on his own, but he was famous at first for being Wilbur Snyder's son-in-law. And that's what, you know, his career started there in the Indiana territory with Bruiser and Snyder because, and oh gosh, I can't remember Snyder's daughter's name. And again, I haven't listened to the conversation we had that probably will cover everything in the past 8 years, but Steve saw the lifestyle, right? And he looked perfect for a babyface wrestler, especially at the time they needed one bad in Indiana, a young babyface. He was tall, he was athletic, he had a surfer body, he had muscles, but it wasn't like, he wasn't a bodybuilder type, but looked great for the era, the long blonde hair, right? And had personality. And so he did everything from driving their ring truck to, working the county fairs they do in the summer. And as Miniker would say, All-Star Championship Wrestling coming to Lagooty. That was a great education. And I guess off the top of my head, I'm going to say that was probably 1977-ish, because I was seeing the TV at the time. And he was naturally paired with Spike Huber, who was Bruiser's son-in-law that was starting to get into business at approximately the same time. One or the other may have been, a year in front of the other, but that was the problem. And Brian, we just talked about Indianapolis wrestling on, was it last week's program?
Yeah,
or the experience last week, where the territory was aging out and dying and everybody was old. That was 1981 we were talking about. In 77, the war with the Sheik had been over, and both territories downsized, and Bruiser stuck with all the same guys. And by the late 70s, Moose Cholak, I think this is the point where, was he driving a truck or a bus at one point in Chicago? The guys had other jobs, a lot of them, and lived in either the Chicago or Indianapolis area. And they were all older. I swear to God, and I didn't know the significance of this until afterwards. Do you know the name Miguel Blackie Guzman?
Of course.
The original.
Yeah.
From where?
From where do I know the name, or where is he from?
From where do you know the name?
Mostly Texas.
But he was also a lucha legend and contemporary of El Santo. Did you know that?
Who am I thinking of now? Who was El Santo's brother that I'm thinking of?
Well, I don't know. Now we've gone down a different path.
I thought it was Black. I thought it was him, actually, as I was thinking about it. So hold on.
Well, okay, look it up. But the point I was going to make is Miguel Blackie Guzman, who was one of the legends of Lucha Libre in the 50s, was an underneath guy living in Indianapolis, working preliminaries for Bruiser in the 70s.
Yeah, he's El Santo's brother.
Well, there you go.
And that's El Hijo Dos Santos' nephew, and there's a whole bunch of other wrestlers we've never heard of in the family, too.
But nevertheless, think at that time, he had to be in his late 50s. Santo retired in the early 80s when he was in his 60s, right? Bobo Brazil was so old. I'm just going down the list. Wilbur Snow, all the guys were old or looked old, and here came Steve Regal and Spike Huber. And they featured them on television, and they put them in upper card matches, but they never put them in the main event, except if Spike was teaming with Bruiser. And the thing is, Spike, a wonderful young man, but he was not he had the bodybuilder physique, but he also had kind of a bodybuilder brain. He was not the personality Steve was. He wasn't as quick and as glib and as intelligent as Steve Regal was. And he wasn't as natural in the ring with his work. And so Spike ended up, except for the time that he and Steve came to Memphis as a tag team when Jarrett and Bruiser's territory were working together. Spike never read, and he went to St. Louis because Bruiser, Sam Muchnick, Central States, we're all friends, used my son-in-law. I don't think Spike ever worked anywhere else, did he? Can you remember?
After 83 or 84?
I mean, even before that,
No, not really. Not really.
So that's Steve, that's where I met him in 79. He came to Memphis. He got out of there early because, again, he was so athletic. And he was so good in the ring, and he looked great for the girls, right? And by 1979, give you an example, Louisville's 100 miles from Indianapolis. The 4 shows per month in Louisville together would draw many more fans than Bruiser's entire month's schedule anywhere, including Indianapolis, for the previous month. So there was, I think, and I'm trying to remember, we probably covered it again in the discussion that we had, but basically Steve had the capability to go out and do more, and he got booked in Memphis, and they used him upper babyface, upper mid card, or right underneath. They teamed him with Jimmy Valiant when Jimmy was hottest babyface, and he got over, sold pictures great. And then he also worked in Georgia for a while around that time, and then also did a run in Portland. He was in various places and starting to be known. And then he came back home in 82. So he had that run in Indy with him and Spike that ended up them coming to Memphis again. And that was the thing. I don't know of what period of time, I can't quote it date by date, but Spike met a girl in Memphis, and that's what fucked up his marriage to Bruiser's daughter.
And his career.
Which is why after 1985, Spike, bye-bye. But again, when you think about it again, if I'm saying he was probably still a Hall in the Ring in 76. So if Steve Regal had started in, say, 77 and been in the business by 82, 5 years, he's just really, he was always good. The drop kick and the fucking babyface fire on the comebacks and just the athleticism, his basics, everything was good. When you shot him off turnbuckle to turnbuckle, his feet would leave the ring in the middle of the ring, and he'd turn in midair and take that fucking thing with his feet in the air. Just amazing. But he was smart to the business too and had a good fucking promo. So that, I guess, what was the run in the AWA?
Oh, him and Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but 84 is what I'm going to say,
85,
right? 85, because well, they may have started in late 84 for any nitpickers out there. But Steve had been a babyface all of his career. And again, as I say, he was great at it. And, sold a lot of pictures in Memphis. But switching heel with the blonde hair again, the body, him and Gorgeous Jimmy and the sequins, it fit. That was a great fucking spot for him, too, to where 5 years into a guy's career, he's switched heel. Now he's at the top tag team in a major territory. And one would think, he's still young, and so he's got decades left, right? And I mean, I could see if in a perfect world, Nick Bockwinkel and Steve Regal at a singles program, if the AWA hadn't collapsed, it would have been sweet, right? But instead, as we mentioned before, with everybody bailing out of the AWA by the time it was kind of, and everybody's coming to either Crockett or going to the WWF. Remember, Steve came to Crockett in 86 and spent a better part of a year. And somebody had even tweeted when I was doing the summer bash TVs where I was in what Dusty wanted me to wear for my summer outfit. I got the fucking goddamn hat like Orson Welles in the fucking, South America movie or whatever the fuck, and the flowery shirts and Hawaiian shit and everything. And somebody tweeted an interview that I hadn't even thought of in years that we were doing with Jimmy and Steve. But they used Jimmy more as the single heel it was featured, and Steve got kind of shuffled in the middle at that point. And yeah, that was just bad timing because Crockett was so overloaded with everybody that, he couldn't pop his head up. And then everything went to, he's another one of the guys that had major territory still existed. He was really just starting to take off as far as a commodity, and there was no place left to go.
Good in the ring?
Fantastic. If you had a guy like Steve Regal right now, and I'm not saying when he was, let's say 27 years old or 28 years old or whatever the fuck, when that Steve Regal, if you had him right now, he would have better basics and more athleticism. He was a little over 6 feet tall. He was lean, is why he was like 220 pounds. But again, surfer fucking body and the great leaping drop kicks. And he wouldn't have been a goddamn gymnast, but his work would be in the top, just technical in-ring work from, I'm not talking holds, punches and timing and etc. would be in the top 15 or 20% today. And I mean, if anybody wants to go and look at, anything on YouTube, unless it's anything from Bruiser's territory with him with a fucking senior citizen AARP recipient. I don't, but look at his stuff in the AWA or in Crockett. You get matches with Denny Brown, for fuck's sake. Poor little pudge ball.
An answer to the trivia question, who defeated the Road Warriors for the AWA tag titles?
Yes, and that was part of the heat also, that if Vern's territory hadn't been flummoxing at that point, that Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal at a total combined weight of 430 pounds, the two pretty boys in the sequins with the girl Precious and the blah, 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 beat the Road Warriors, because to go to Crockett, they had to drop fucking Vern's belts on the way, which was an agreement of Vern and Crockett that was enforced. So that was part of the heat, that the little pretty boys beat the,
And I don't know too much about this. I'd have to go back and look at what I have. But according to this, Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig won the tag titles on January 18th, 1986 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in a phantom match, which was said to have occurred to cover for Regal leaving the company while still champion. That's interesting.
Well, and but
was he the first? Was he the first of the AWA champions to walk out of the company? Not the last, but
well, no. Wait, I'm trying. Did Garvin go at the same time, or did Garvin stick around? Because Garvin was, I was in working for Crockett with Garvin in January of 1986. Was I not?
Definitely 86. I just don't remember when he got there.
Damn it! See, it's not my week to watch him.
We'll see what more we can find out about that.
We'll dig into this mystery.
Well, you said the conversation you had with Steve Regal was on the show in 2018. So it's available, of course, to the patrons at patreon.com/Cornette. But we're going to try to get that interview up on the YouTube channel in the coming days. So stay tuned for that.
But that's the thing is, I guess I want to make the point is, besides the fact he was a nice guy, bright guy, and wasn't destitute after he left the business. There's not going to be a dark side of the ring. He was fine. He was living in Florida, and I think this is the thing. Oh, I wanted to bring this up. Nobody knew he died in July. And I don't know how, again, I, hadn't grilled him in the past few years on what his, who's your immediate family to contact in case of emergency. We hadn't been in contact like that. But with all these other obscure kind of people that we get these reports on, I don't know how this, and I'm still waiting somebody to tell me how that this may have gone unreported for 6 months or whatever. Apparently, I understand it may have been a heart issue is all that I know. But I just hate to hear it, because, again, he was not like, okay, wrestling is over now, I'm going to have to goddamn live a shiftless life for the rest of my life and live on past glory. He moved on from it. but it's another one of those guys that really was just starting to be used in his early 30s, I believe at that time, in what, 1984, 5. Just starting to get used, is a great performer in the ring, has shown now he's got personality. And if the system had continued another 5 years, he was timed perfectly to be a big star in one of the companies for, quite a while. But we lost a lot of talent when all that went to shit. So I hate to hear about this anyway, though. He was a very, very nice guy, very, very quick.
It's interesting. This has happened a few times recently where a wrestler died and we didn't find out until after the fact. I think it was Rene Goulet, Steve Regal.
Bob Ellis.
That's the extreme example. That was like, 6 years ago. Bob Ellis.
Yeah, Conan Uncle Bob, he died 10 years ago. What the hell are you talking about? He's not 96. He's fucking dead.
It seems like if you don't work the circuit and still do conventions and stuff, it's almost like you vanish if anything happens. No one's paying attention. We heard something a few months ago, and I'll put it out there just in case it's true, in case someone has more information. But on the topic of people passing and no one knowing or no one hearing and no one talking about it and this person not being around, we heard something about Sunshine passing. And again, it was another one of these things where, look who died a year ago or whatever it was.
Yes. I read this. Now people are going to think that heathen, he doesn't remember. Did we verify that?
We never were
that actually happen?
It was in an area where we thought she may have lived. It was a woman approximately the age of what we thought Sunshine would be. And it was the name.
The fingerprints were burned off with carbolic acid.
You see, the Walking on Sunshine manager doesn't want to stop now. He still has more things to say.
We had fun. Hey, you know what? That was one of her single biggest payoffs that night, I bet you. That she walked on me in the Tarrant County Convention Center, because that was the biggest payoff I got the whole goddamn. We were in the tag team title match at Texas Stadium, and that was a single $1,000 from those cheap bastards.
Hey, I don't even know if you would know the answer to this, but how were valets paid in world class like 83, 84, 85? Was it like a manager getting paid, or was it different if it was, the guy's wife or something?
Well, I can tell you what I know, and there was obviously going to be differences. When we first got there, me and Bobby and Dennis, Midnight Express, okay, we were, as we've told the story, so we were going there at the behest of Bill Watts, who wanted us to be there and work for Fritz, and they were going to change talented, etc. So instead of going to work for Crockett, we go there. And this is something actually I hadn't thought of in a while till you brought it up specifically. We get our checks the first week, and I don't remember what I got, but it wasn't the same as what Bobby and Dennis got. And I went to ask about it. And they said, well, you're their manager. I said, and apparently they were not used to paying the manager as much as they paid one of the guy that he's managing, unless that guy was also wrestling on the fucking card or some other goddamn deal. Because remember, they only kept 12 fucking people. Right?
Or if it was the booker. Gary Hart was the top manager and the booker for a long time.
Yes. So he, that was a separate fucking, and we said, oh no, contraire, mon frere. No, we're out of hair because we remember we'd already given our notice the ones to go to Charlotte, and then fucking Watts talked us out of it. No, blah, blah, blah. So Bobby and Dennis stood up and said he has been getting, because that was what Watts did from day one. Each of the three of us got the same thing, whatever. They just split what the team would get up 3 different ways, basically, like the promoters do it. But we all got the same payoff for, in many cases, I was going through the most fucking danger of the process. And so, no, he gets the same thing. And all right. And I mean, what was it going to be? And some of those payoffs we got, $85. What was it going to be? $15 difference. They paid Dennis Condrey one night at a spot show for working twice in the single match, the captain's match of the tag team match, and then the tag team match with the Fantastics. He got a $63 payoff. 63. The minimum was $50, right? You're going to get that if you show up and fart in the ring. And there's just two people there, right? That's the guarantee is $50. But at this sparsely populated fucking spot show, for working twice, he got $63. He looked at it and said, like they shaved it down to the fucking nub. That's the most we can give this son of a bitch.
Give him $13 for that extra match.
Yeah.
But again, that's managers. And of course, Dallas had Gary Hart. They had Skandar Akbar. They had you. But the valets really started in 83. And, you know, by 85, they were, I mean, well, even before then, I was going to say they're in matches and they're doing things. But it was a big deal on the show. Were they ever paid like it?
That's, I don't know. And in some cases may have been an individual thing because Jimmy Garvin with Sunshine, it was probably like, you know, give her a manager payoff or whatever. And they didn't know she was going to become a phenomenon. With Precious, that's his wife. And maybe they negotiated something because they're not, Jimmy Garvin was in main events with Chris Adams and et cetera. They're not going to give Precious, his valet or manager, the same as, you know, as the single guys would get in the featured fucking main event of goddamn things. And it wasn't truthfully and honestly like Precious added to the gimmick, but she was neither his primary mouthpiece as a manager to talk for him or, you know, really attracting any of the physically violent heat. And it was Gary Hart was the booker. So as a manager, he would get obviously paid more than a lot of the boys on the card. And it was Stella May, they probably, you know, I don't know what the fuck they made with her. She was a year later working at the fucking dry cleaners down the streets. I don't know what to tell you. But I can tell you that if any of the girls wrestled, like if it was Sunshine and Garvin and
Sunshine
Precious
and Missy ended up like working together, I believe.
Okay, well, then Missy could probably address this more eloquently than I have, you know, from her standpoint. But if the girls wrestled in like a mixed tag or match on the card, I believe they got whatever payoff that the wrestlers in that spot on the card would get, whether it was legitimate or not from the fucking promoter. I've just told you about a $63 payoff one of the guys got. So, but they would be paid like a wrestler if they actually had a match on the card, I think.
Well, we'll see. If anyone knows anything about Sunshine, Valerie French, let us know. Again, we're not sure, but it seemed like it may be, but we don't know. We don't know what's going on.
Maybe she just, again, you know, she just wanted to disappear and lead a happy life crocheting somewhere.
I called Stella Mae French and she yelled at me and told me to get out of show business. So that didn't work out so well. Jim, on the topic of things in the news, we should get to this because we have heard from some listeners, not a terrible amount to be quite honest with you, who wanted to know what you thought about recent comments, I guess some pros, some con, from Vince Russo, and he just did an interview with Ariel Helwani where, of course, you were brought up, and...
You know, by the way, Ariel should change his name and get a show business name because it's hard. It's hard for some people to pronounce.
Well, Vince Russo was on there, known for his wonderful pronunciation of things, and, of course, you were brought up because... That's one of the main things people think about when they think about Vince Russo is you.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, I don't mean that in a negative way to you. I just mean people know what you think of him. You've been very vocal about it, and a lot of other people feel the same way. This time he called you names. He called you a goof.
He called you names.
You're a goof, and you're just jealous of him. And
wait, but I was a genius the previous week. See, that's it.
Yeah, he did some interview, I think, somewhere else on YouTube where he said like nothing but nice things about
that's the thing. And here's the thing is, for a couple weeks now, because he's got a new misadventure, which we laughed about here on the program a month or two ago. We heard about it. We'll get back to that. But he's again in desperate attempts to get publicity for what that he believes is going to unleash his wisdom and genius upon the cinematic world and revolutionize wrestling. He's grasping at straws to get people to listen to him again. And a month or so ago, whatever it was, when we laughed about his latest misadventure because it was comedic gold, and so apropos to the whole thing that here he's a 65-year-old man that's been trying to get a job in a business that he had a moment of glory in 30 years ago, to the point where he's wearing a sign on the side of the road saying, "We'll book for food." And he's called and emailed networks and tried to buddy up to former bosses and complained publicly that it's all a bunch of shit and only I know the way, and I will do it for anyone that takes advantage of it, and nobody does. And that he is legitimately campaigned on the theory. Do you remember Oral Roberts, Brian? There was kids. There was a televangelist named Oral Roberts back in the 80s. I swear to God, a preacher named Oral. It wrote itself. And he actually gave a deadline one time. He said, if we don't raise X amount of dollars for this ministry, God is going to call me home. He actually told his people, if you don't send in money, God's going to kill me. And they did, and he didn't. And that's what Russo has been doing. I'm going to retire and quit watching wrestling. It didn't on such and such date. How many times have we heard that? It's like, get me now. What, before I jump off this cliff? And nobody's throwing a net over him. The mental hospital ought to be throwing a net over him. And now it's somewhat apropos that he's a 65-year-old man that's been begging for a job in his former glory business of 30 years ago that is now resorted to working for a promotion run by literal clowns. Actual people who self-identify as clowns. Are the clowns here? Yes, we are. And we dress like them, act like them, and present wrestling like them. And into the clown show walks my old friend.
And for the record, it's not just working there. We were told the release was that he's an investor there as well.
Well, yeah, and blow me. He's the cinematic director for whatever their fucking vision is. But nevertheless, so he does an interview with somebody, and I start hearing on Twitter, what do you think about this? That Russo saying nice things about you. He says you're a genius and you're this and that. And I have never, and I don't intend to listen to that voice. Except if I'm tied to a chair and being interrogated. If you want me to spill my guts, play the voice and I'll make it stop. But otherwise, I ain't listening to it. You and I, Brian, when we talk about him here on the program, we read recaps of public things that he's done, said, or been involved in to ridicule the preposterosity of them and then move along, but I do not listen to his voice. But the gist was he was saying a bunch of nice things about because he wanted me to respond to him, which is what I'm doing now just to get it over with. And I didn't want to respond to him because he's just groping and grasping and fondling for publicity on his new venture of working for literal clowns. And then he goes on to show a week later, Cornette's a fucking idiot. He's a goddamn Jesus. Because he's mad because then he responded, well, maybe this will work. And I wasn't really going to say anything about that either, but everybody. So I will issue a blanket. I don't respond to Shitstain when he talks about me because that's when he's trying to get publicity. And whatever he says about me will be based on whatever angle or swerve he's working as to whether he thinks it'll get him attention. I only mock his general public activities and statements about other people and things when they are appropriate. And because he has such a track record, people think that we talk about him constantly, or he'd like to have them think that, but he's part of the passing American parade to us. But just as a blanket answer, I mean, Jesus H. Christ. I'll leave this as the summation. I've almost done better than the grave pissing, Brian, when you think about it. Because we're the same age, me and Vinny Roo, and he still so desperately either needs the money or the fucking attention that he will subject himself at a point in time where we're both about to get the Medicare to fucking going out in these barns and working for these clowns and doing this outlaw wrestling bullshit. Why would you need either at this stage of your life? I, on the other hand, may have had the last piss because for the past 10 years, I've been telling people actively on this forum, I'm done working for anybody. I'm doing my own thing. Even when I was still doing appearances, they had been reduced in number and basically for my friends. And then I've continued to announce that I will not be back. And yet he is still, it's reduced to this. What's next? Is he going to show up in different people's backyards for their barbecue matches and try to book those? How much farther down the fucking totem pole can you fall before it's not a fall? It's not a pole, but it's a goddamn hole. He's falling down the totem hole.
You know, like you said, a lot of the listeners, whenever they see him do something, they reach out because they just want to hear you make fun of him. They enjoy that. And obviously, I think Ariel was hoping that, they can get kind of a thing. And Ariel later tweeted that he'd love to have you on. Of course he would. And, I think he should have called out, some of the bullshit. If you're going to allow someone to say that Jim Cornette has a problem with them because other people like Dixie and Vince McMahon chose his ideas over them, you're forgetting the realities of the situation. Jim Cornette had a guy, it was exposed, writing emails to Dixie Carter, trashing him at the same time that Jim was trying to be a good team player and help out when everyone in that company was begging him to produce their matches. So it's not exactly the same thing. It's not about the choice of booker. It's about the behavior of the person.
His story fluctuates depending on the audience and the need for the point of the story to favor him. And the problems our problems started long before anybody chose anybody. I was ready to gouge his fucking eyeballs out probably 3 weeks into fucking working with him.
Someone actually just sent me the video. It's been a while and I checked it out because it's only a few minutes and it's funny, of you telling the DQ Schmeeq story, which was the same thing. He didn't react to you. He turned around and ran to Vince McMahon and complained about you.
And then Vince ran to JR and told him to come and talk to me. And then I told JR what he said. And then JR went back to me. This is what we were doing with fucking Raw because of this fucking moron. I never That's another thing. I never went to any superior officer and told him so-and-so said a rude thing about me. I either addressed it with that person or I didn't. And but he's always like, oh goddamn, this fucking idiot. He's been in business a year and he's going to tell me about finishes. What the fuck?
And I guess we'll just end with the funny part, which is he's doing this little media tour. All anyone cares about is you responding to him. No one's talking about the thing he's attempting to promote. He thinks he's getting free publicity for it and no one's talking about it. No one cares about it.
It's a fucking rib. It's a guy who used to work for a successful restaurant chain has now come out with his own shit sandwich. What the fuck? And again, to put it to rest, he still thinks that in his mind, and he's convinced a few weak-minded people, but he still thinks in his mind that he was the glorious one all along because of 2 fucking years. 2 years, he was 30 years ago that he was part of a successful entity with many moving parts that we've mentioned. And from then on, everything has been downhill and or banishment. Except for TNA as on a major league level, if you can call TNA that during all of his tenures, he's not legitimately been employed by anybody in the last 20 fucking years. I've made more goddamn appearances for different companies than he has on television in total in the last 20 years. So I fail to see now why that if he wants to argue with me, if you want me to give you some publicity events at this point, then do something spectacularly stupid and funny, and we'll comment on it. And it shouldn't take you long. Or have a goddamn fight and break up with whatever people you're trying to work with over there, like you usually do on your. Remember the one time years ago that he had a fight and he got locked out of his own fucking podcast that he was doing?
Oh my God. I forgot all about that. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. And he was telling people, he's just telling people, don't buy anything from VinceRusso.com. I retweeted it. I said, an opinion I share. Because he couldn't get his own fucking website. At this point, he's grandpa with his fucking robe open and his tallywhacker hanging out, asking the neighborhood to look at him because he's going to do something brilliant again when he squats down and shits out some fucking paint on the canvas in the front yard. Just give us some material, Vince, and we'll laugh at you, but otherwise I'm not going back and forth. It's not even fair at this point. I'll continue to be over here, being the best in the world at the particular thing I do again. And you can be over there working for the clowns.
Yeah, he's on the interview and he's like, I've challenged him to a debate with all the money going to Cauliflower Alley, but he doesn't say, and I also issued a restraining order against him.
But also, no. But that's the thing. It was a loophole. He never said the Cauliflower Alley Club. He said, I will send it to Cauliflower Alley. Like it was going to go to an animal welfare fucking the cauliflowers. And that was one of the things is meet me face to face on a podcast.
We'll send all the money to Carl Lauer to manage. That's a great idea.
Oh, gee, he couldn't have pronounced Carl Lauer anyway. It'd be like the Chinese guys try to sing fucking Christmas carols on the fucking Christmas movie.
I did the videos for the NWA 50th anniversary Cauliflower Alley thing that Dennis promoted in, was it Cherry Hill or Philly? I don't remember. But I did, the videos for each presenter. And it was like Fred Blassie, Tully Blanchard, Jim Ross, variety of people. All of a sudden, Carl Lauer, who I'd never met before, runs up to me. And I'm a teenager still. He goes, Brian, how'd you like to come to Iowa? Get away from me, you creep. I don't know who you are, and I ain't going to Iowa with you. But it turned out it was like they wanted videos for like whatever they were doing out there. And I was like, no, I'm all right. I'll be over here.
Yes. No, Carl was not a creep. He was a nice guy, just very enthusiastic. Just an enthusiastic guy. He was an old-time promoter.
Well, Jim, you mentioned that Russo had 2 years. He was a part of a machine that really popped WWE. That's 2 years. And that's a long time ago, but memories last forever. And sometimes, whether you're...
Memories?
Memories.
Oh, man, I thought you meant memories.
Let's get out of the gutter, mister.
Oh,
what I'm saying is, it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be community college, but whether it's 2 years or more than that, ladies and gentlemen, we all want to capture those memories and keep them nearby, or memories. And of course, you can show all these photos on your beautiful Aura Frames frame. And Jim, I know we have a great deal for the listeners.
Boy, howdy, you can do that. And I'll tell you how you can do it, because what the Aura Frame is it's a technological marvel, Brian. And Stacy and her mother and her nephew, well, the nephew of the family, it's different relationships. But they've all got these things, and they're passing the pictures back and forth. And it's incredible. I don't know what the limit is. Probably more pictures than you've got of your family or would even want, because it just keeps going. The slideshow over and over. And for the pictures that are high res, well, they pop out like regular old pictures there. And you can't tell that it's a projection at all. And you can load them up and send them to somebody, so you can send them loaded, or you can get the person loaded after they get it. And if you get them good and loaded, the thing looks even better. And sometimes they'll see these people without any clothes on because they're drunk off their ass.
We just took a major leap there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's focus. Let's get back to the clothes and the sober.
The frame. The slideshow, you can add pictures. It even takes video. Well, it doesn't take video. It accepts video and broadcasts the video on the screen. You can make Cousin Simpson there. Put him on the set of the 6 o'clock news if you do it right. Because it broadcasts TV, and then he can be the newscaster. Say, ladies and gentlemen, the world is coming to an end, and it'll scare Granny. But a lot of these things, it may take some time to figure out how to do. But you can put the pictures right on there, and the regular video, and the audio. It even plays, "Hi, Grandma." Boy, it stinks in there.
Listen, regular people, regular photos, regular videos. Of course, even live photos from Apple can move in real time on a beautiful Aura frame. Send Granny wonderful photos of all the family members she loves.
Let's say you hold your phone in front of the kid and get the kid to say, "Hey, Granny, why does it smell like beans in your place?"
Why would you do that?
Well, so Granny could answer it's interactive for the whole family. Granny's on the phone listening to this shit.
Listen, I don't know if this is necessarily how or why it should work, but let's talk about photos and videos. And of course, Jim, the feature I love, you turn out the lights at the end of the night, the frame goes off. So does Jim's microphone, apparently.
No. just breathing. It's something I can do later. You like it when the lights go out, and I don't. Is it something in your childhood that I don't understand why you like it so much when all the lights are out? But folks, for a limited time now, we got to hurry. You can save on the perfect gift for Christmas. They got more than just Hotchkiss Featherbottom working for them, so they can get this shit out quick. Visit Aura Frames, AURA Frames.com, and you're going to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using the promo code JCE at checkout. It's exclusive to our listeners. At least that's what they wouldn't lie to us, would they? So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays, and mention our show at checkout when you get $35 off. Aura, AURA, auraframes.com. The promo code is JCE. This frame, it sits on the chifforobe or the Davenport or whatever piece of furniture you might have in Granny's place, or even, once again, people who have that special kind of relationship, they could have the frames and they could send photographs of each other doing the naughty naught, or just lounging about all natural, and it could be art.
Regular, or it could be
everyday art, or photos. George, or Ben, or any of them.
Regular, everyday photos and videos for regular, everyday people. Something that you
can get romantic. Let's say that somebody wants to remember all of their lost loves. All of it, man, it takes hundreds, folks, so all of you would apply. Just a thought. Are you there?
A great conversation on mute is still a great conversation to someone. Jim, one last time, that promo code for everyone out there who is just looking for a wonderful, wonderful Aura frame for themselves or their family.
Promo code is JCE, $35 off. Get them while they're hot. Right now. Boom.
Jim, let's talk about another happening on social media. Have you been following, or are you at all aware of the Ric Flair Hannibal feud that has suddenly broken out?
Okay, no, actually, blissfully, I was unaware of this.
All right, I'm trying to see what started it, because that's kind of the question. Ric Flair had one of his Ric Flair social media posts in caps going after Hannibal, but I'm not sure what caused it. I have something here that says, Hannibal recently slammed Ric Flair online after Flair claimed that Hogan died from street club drugs, excuse me.
Now it's street club drugs?
Ric Flair says that the street clubs...
It was just regular old street drugs before, now it's street club drugs. The gangs of roving street club members. What the...
Hannibal said...
But that's the problem. That's the thing is, if we are unaware of what started it, it's because Hannibal said it online, and nobody knows what the fuck he says online.
Apparently, Hannibal said that Flair openly admitted that he shouldn't say this before making the claim, which he did. We heard that. Hannibal described Flair as someone who invents stories for attention and money, specifically pointing to Flair's false claim about being present the night Bruiser Brody was murdered. Hannibal criticized Flair's apology to Hogan's camp and said Flair was simply trying to avoid any legal consequences. Quote, in other words, let's not dwell on my lies. I should read it like Hannibal. In other words, let's not dwell on my lies. Don't sue me. So apparently that may have been what triggered Ric Flair. He also pointed out Flair's habit of embellishing stories stretches back years. And we've heard the Bruiser Brody one in the past. I don't think Flair made that up for profit or anything. I think Flair... No. In his own head,
I will go ahead and say it, Brian, so you don't have to. At some point, because Ric Flair had been to Puerto Rico 1,000,000 times, just like he'd been everywhere else 1,000,000 times, and they had worked together around that time, and then the story had been told so long, and then after 20 years, Flair had been so drunk so many times that one time he says, yes, I was there when it happened. No, I don't. And again, we've unfortunately had to comment somewhat negatively on a lot of the things that Rick has done here in recent years. But I don't think he ever lies for profit. Like, oh, God, but, somebody's going to give me more money because I was here when this happened. I think he, at some points, just gets confused because it's been 40 fucking years. And it's, it just, because this happens to be something that so many of the fans remember. Brody's murder, I'm talking about. Fuck, it could have, at that point, it could be something that happened in goddamn Memphis 10 years before that, and he would not remember he had anything to do with it or whatever the fuck. That's an outstanding memory.
Well, Ric Flair took to social media. I have something here from Facebook. Before I read Ric Flair's comment, it is something that he posted. I don't know where this is from, but it says, forward. Devin Hannibal Nicholson has the size, the intensity, and the passion to chase the spotlight. But in the pro wrestling world, it only gets you so far. He's a solid worker who never truly crossed into that legendary tier. While Ric Flair didn't just become a star...
That was awfully fucking generous, wasn't it?
I think so. While Ric Flair didn't just become a star, he became the standard, a global icon whose charisma, promo, storytelling, and record-setting title reigns made him one of the most influential performers in history. Nicholson is known among devoted fans.
Well worded, but actually not far off because you have to give Flair all of that stuff.
I agree. Nicholson is known among devoted fans for grinding and trying to break through.
What?
But Flair's name is recognized by people who have never even watched wrestling. His woo echoing through decades of arenas as proof of a presence that commands attention. The moment he steps through a curtain... These sentences are long. I apologize. I missed it there.
Yes.
Simply put, Ric Flair is immortalized as a cornerstone of the business, while Nicholson is still fighting to earn a seat at a table Flair built.
Why is this essay even being written? Why is this even a point that's being argued? Is anyone in Lord knows what universe trying to say that fucking doofball up in Canada is only by even comparison we're actually in the same profession briefly, and otherwise there's no time that they're in the same universe together, is there? What is happening here?
I don't know exactly, but he posted that, and then this is what Ric Flair wrote. I'm sorry, Hannibal, or whatever the F your name is, because no one cares and no one ever will. Someone sent me this, and I thought I would give you a clue about how you're perceived by the general public. These are not my words. These are comments about your laughable opportunity to be anything but full of shit. I actually have more information, but I'll save you from the embarrassment. Have a great weekend. Hope you're watching football like I am. FYI, 2,000 followers. You're such a stud. What are your thoughts?
Let me just compose myself here for a second.
That's the best Flair promo in a while.
Woo!
Woo!
Do you think, was he just, sitting there waiting for a flight or something and going, what the fuck is this guy saying? Because I'm wondering how would what Hannibal says or what somebody who was listening to what Hannibal says even come across Flair at this point without somebody walking up and saying, what do you think about this? But he certainly made his feelings known.
I like the idea of Flair sitting there watching football. He's like, you know what? It's time to tweet about Hannibal. Woo!
Whoever the fuck you are.
He's part of one of those street clubs. Woo! With the Egyptian.
Oh, God. I guess our boy Devin is still trying to get some attention on. Nobody hears anything about him anymore. I thought that somebody had revoked a parole or something.
We had heard a while back that he's not doing wrestling and now chases UFOs, whatever the fuck it was.
No wonder his life intersected with Flair's.
Well, that's the update on that, ladies and gentlemen. Jim, another follow-up on something we've recently talked about here on the show.
Yes.
The Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Olivia Nuzzi, we're still not sure.
Nuzzly.
Affair and scandal. Of course, her ex-fiancé, Ryan Lizza, is all over Substack tearing her apart. But here we have a copy of a page from her new book, her new memoir that just came out.
Now, she's got a book out now. Is it a boudoir memoir? Does she give the lowdown on the ugly?
I'm not sure. The page we have here concerns the WWE Hall of Fame.
Okay. But just so I can keep track now, Ryan Lizza is her ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
And he wrote a book.
No. He's on Substack. He lost his job. And now he's on Substack.
So he's just on Substack. But he's spilling his guts on Substack.
Spilling the tea, as the kids say.
Spilling the tea and the pee and everything else. Some S, all that stuff. It's all over the carpet. He's on Substack. This woman feels that her viewpoints on the world are so important that she's written a book. Not about any particular subject people might be educated by, but about her experiences in the world with all these other people that are telling their fucking side of the story.
And she just lost her latest job. Vanity Fair has announced that she won't be returning in the new year.
So that's a good time as any to fucking write a book and tell everybody off. And she is the one who's having some type of affair that may or may not just be, as our great former President Jimmy Carter said, lusting in their hearts, with the desiccated corpse of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Well, this was after her apparent affair with Mark Sanford, a former presidential candidate and was he governor? Or what was he?
No, he was governor of South Carolina.
Governor of South Carolina.
Not?
That's right.
And he was the honorary mayor of South America.
That's right. Very big in Argentina, from what I understand.
Yes. Oh.
And also, it turns out, apparently, when she was 18 for several years, she was in a relationship with Keith Olbermann. That just came out. And he's talked about that. So she certainly likes older men.
She doesn't seem to have one political type or one cultural type or one sort of ideological type, but there is an age and wealth type.
And of course, she lost her job with Vanity Fair. It has come out that apparently she was coaching Robert F. Kennedy, who of course she was covering as a reporter, to get away from the whole scandal end of it. Just the actual journalistic integrity part of it, or lack of integrity. She was consulting him on how he can better run for president while covering him and being a political reporter. So that's part of
while covering him. Give me the full top spread, baby.
Well, this is a section from her book. I don't even have the name of the book here. I'll get that in a moment, but it's a page from the book.
Name of the book, it's News from Newsy.
This is, I don't know how this came up or why, but I'll read it. Every little thing seemed to matter. There was always something new to consider, or something to consider in a new way. In that spirit, I called WWE headquarters.
What? What? That took a sudden right fucking turn.
Sorry, not possible, the receptionist said. Not possible? I asked. Visiting would be impossible, she said. My eyes narrowed. I looked out the window of my newsroom. In the Frank Gehry building on the Hudson River that looked like a big block of glacier ice. I did not like to be trapped anyplace, even somewhere I considered architecturally defensible, and I had wanted to escape today. Had been counting on this opportunity to escape. The news of the impossibility of a visit to the Hall of Fame depressed me. It's private? I asked. There's no place to visit, the receptionist said. No place? I asked. Right, she said. It moved? I asked. No, it's, an idea, she said. An idea? The hall of, she cut in. No hall. There's no hall.
There's no hall, Jerry. Where's the hall?
Then what is it? I asked. It's an idea, she said. An idea? She had mentioned that already. It doesn't exist? I asked. Well, it exists, she said. Where? I asked. As an idea, she said. It was a place only in imagination. So what do you think of this little story of her calling a WWE receptionist about visiting the Hall of Fame and what they are told to say about that, I guess?
Well, that's the problem here, and I certainly am intrigued to find out. First of all, this may be proof that any idiot that has an audience can write a book. And I speak from experience, because that just sounds like crap to me, the writing style. But nevertheless, I don't know why she was motivated to want to find them, maybe for some person that she knew to cheer them up, a sick child, whatever she wants to go to the WWE.
Imagine if they'd sent her to Vince.
Oh my God. All right now. Let's not make this all in the gutter here. But the bigger issue is they can't even tell. I don't have any idea who the receptionist may be at this point in time, but there is a main, when you call the goddamn main number, at least back in the day, you got the person at the main desk there in the lobby of Titan Tower that they didn't leave till a couple of years ago. And because if you didn't know the direct number of the person that you were calling, you could call that number during business hours and they would connect you. So that was who she, and how they would not have told someone to say, well, the Hall of Fame inductions are done every year as part of our WrestleMania ceremonies, and there's no physical Hall of Fame now. It's more of an honorary nomination with the ceremonies and etc., or just something instead of just, it's an idea. It doesn't exist.
No, it exists. There. It exists as an idea.
But it's as an idea.
Why don't they just do something? I'm not saying you have to rent a Frank Gehry building or anything. He just died. I'm not saying you have to do that, but...
Well, yeah, I bet you could get it cheap then.
Why not just have a building somewhere, even if it's close to the office where you display the stuff you have in your warehouse? Just... why not do something?
Do you know how much that it would cost for a building near their office of any size, of bigger than a dry cleaner's place?
That's not going to bankrupt them.
Well, but just, you know, it would sit there because, especially possibly since it's up there in that part of the country in summertime, if people are taking trips rather than the dead of winter, nobody says, oh, let's go to Connecticut, the middle of Stamford. Not some goddamn ski resort or whatever. It would sit there. It would not make its operating costs, much less the expense of the real estate and the building and etc., because they would gimmick it up where it would be a museum of the WWE from 87 to fucking 2027. And they'd have some older things, but the people that would care about them are not going to make the fucking trip just to see that, when they'd rather go see the Pfeffer collection. You see what I'm saying? It's just, it wouldn't end up breaking even in any kind of way.
I mean, I don't want the Saudis to get it, but I would have to think that considering what they have and how many people are wrestling fans, how many rich people are wrestling fans and executives, there probably is a way they could almost sell almost like the World's Fair, just sell the rights to advertise yourself within the Hall of Fame. You know, the Colgate 1980s or whatever the fuck you do. There's a way to do that. And they have no problem selling everything from Slim Jim tables to, Prime Water or whatever the hell it is. So they just don't seem to want to, I think.
But I think there's more, they have more upside, more blue sky, as Jerry Jarrett would say, in making a traveling attraction that is part of one of their weekend packages. And instead of bringing the whole shebang, bring exhibits focused on X or Y or Z, and the WrestleMania, the fan access, the Hall of Fame, that type of thing, where if they could work up to 4 times a year, it's a destination point for a weekend for the fans to see these items as well as these other things going on in town. And I bet you they could make some money with that if they wanted to go to the trouble. But that, I believe, is the best way to make worthwhile for them exhibiting the classic stuff they've gotten in the warehouse.
And I really do wonder if there was a Hall of Fame somewhere, even if it wasn't in Connecticut. Considering the modern fans and the modern spending habits, maybe you would get fans there every day. Going through the exhibits and doing whatever you do. I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame, I get baseball and football and basketball are different than wrestling, but still, WWE's fan base, their dedicated nature and spending, I really wonder.
Well, and now there's a Hall of Fame in the building in Albany, the old building in Albany, New York. There's a Wrestling Hall of Fame there now, but it's part of it's an ongoing concern as an arena, and it's in a part of that arena. So it's not like they're having to stand alone. That's that's the thing is, I don't know of a local. They tried the Hall of Fame in Texas. Boy, that, need we go there again?
Hello, Johnny Mantel.
Wherever you are. But I don't know that there's any one location right now that's perfect that could support a Wrestling Hall of Fame that's also a vacation. If it's Las Vegas and that's just one of the 20 Blue Million attractions they've got or whatever, and it might get lost in the shuffle. But if it wasn't in a big enough place, then it wouldn't get the traffic. Memphis, as part of the, overall barbecue and Beale Street type of culture, maybe. But it's hard to find to do anything but the 40 years of history of wrestling. Then you got to go back in the territories, and then a lot of the people that are still alive didn't grow up watching these people as kids because they weren't there.
Well, again, I'm not even talking about a proper Wrestling Hall of Fame. That'll never happen. But for a WWE Hall of Fame, if you made it a truly immersive experience, I don't see why it couldn't do as well as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't know if they make any money, but they had a lot of money behind them to build that facility in Cleveland.
Yeah, but there's a lot more rich people that either got rich because of rock and roll or are rich and like rock and roll than there is change that for wrestling.
All right. Well, that's Olivia Nuzzi from her new book, American Canto.
American Canto?
The LA Times book review, the headline is, "Yes, we give you permission to hate read American Canto." That's the fucking review. We give you permission to hate read it. That's how unlikable this person may be. Jim, I thought of a question.
And apparently she can do every single guy that she comes in contact with.
I don't know about any autograph signings. We'll see what we can find out.
Does she wash her hands first? Just what you're saying?
Jim, wanted to ask you about a recent quote I saw attributed to CM Punk. Thought it was an interesting concept, an idea. I wanted to get your thoughts. The idea that the modern WWE, the post-Vince McMahon WWE, the world champion is not paid more than other wrestlers. Any thoughts on that? The idea that the world champion would no longer be paid any differently than he would have before he was the champion.
Well, okay, well now in what context was this? Do you have context on Punk's quote, or do you have an exact quote?
Let me see what I can find.
Because here's the thing is that in some cases, especially in modern times, with the advent of contracts, you might goddamn end up with a guy that you're doing a short-term title run with that is not paid at the level of other guys and shouldn't be. But you see what I'm saying? One of those fucking switcheroo deals. So I'm not sure how because there's no standard rule of thumb, but one would assume that if a guy is an established main event level guy, that he's got a contract comparable in the top group, that if they're bouncing the belt back and forth, over the course of the year, and they're all making within the same range, that ought to be understood. But if if you're suddenly taking a guy that, maybe isn't making in the top group level, but he's in the top group and people are coming to see him and he's selling the shit and hitting the metrics, it's time for him to renegotiate. See, I don't know where we're coming with this.
All right, I have a quote here. This is from the Mostly Sports podcast. CM Punk said, "The business has radically changed. It was a different place when I signed than when I debuted, and then when I came back. Like, it's such a radically different place. The thing with the title, too, is also it means you made more money. That does not exist anymore. Like, good and bad. Like, we all make more money now, which is thumbs up. My paycheck was always predicated on how many people were in the building. So I was driven towards ticket sales and the business of it. And when you're in the main events, you got paid more money.
Yeah.
Now everyone is just kind of on salary. And that's good and bad. It's good for the boys, but I also feel there's not the same ambition. You know? I always wanted to be in the main event because it got me more money. Now I don't care if I'm in the opening match because I'm still going to make the same. I could shower and watch the show now." So, what are your thoughts?
Okay, now that makes sense. I see what he's talking about in the question that he was asked, and we've talked about that here on the show. I mean, in primitive terms, remember when we had WCW 1990 discussions? Well, a guy like Zink, he's making his $150,000, his $3,000 a week, right? Regardless of what the fuck. So we got to do something with him. And also the guys started, not showing up for, I got a malignant hangnail or whatever. The guarantees kind of killed some momentum. In Punk's first run, he is correct in that when he was champion, he was making more money than everybody else because he was on a contract that guaranteed him a minimum, but guys put in that position during that time made well over the minimum amount they were guaranteed. That's why everybody wanted to be in that position. A lot of it was the house shows. If he's in Madison Square Garden, he's getting 15, 20 grand one night on, fucking Thursday or whatever. So that scaling for that time, he was at one time one of the top paid guys, whoever this antithesis was, may have been making as much because they were featured in the main events and the pay-per-views and blah, blah, blah. But now, as we've seen, there are no house shows. You ain't just getting an extra 20 grand on fucking Thursday to show up at the Garden or whatever it may be. And it's all TV rights money. And the guarantees are just for, we're going to give you $3 million and do whatever the fuck we want you to do, but you've got a set number of dates and all these other parameters. And they couldn't possibly, you couldn't make a living for the, if you were Brock Lesnar and not being paid a lot of guaranteed money, you could make a living on showing your face 5 times a year, right? So now they're locked into contracts where they try to keep the guys they're paying a lot of money to and have a lot of investment in. They try to keep them both busy and valuable, meaning don't overwork them and they get hurt and then it's fucked up, and let's not make them do too much shit because we're going to sell $1 million worth of merchandise and blah, blah, blah. But if somebody comes along and that they see, like Braun Breaker, I don't know if they already have renegotiated. They will be renegotiating probably. Or whoever goes from, it may have happened for Jey Uso, or maybe they're just heartless, cruel, fucking Scrooge-like overlords. But when a guy suddenly breaks out and gets popular and you're using him in a main event, he sells a lot of merchandise, you're generally, for the sake of keeping the guy happy and motivated, you're like, here, let us do something else for you or whatever. both of those things are true. It's just at different eras.
That's CM Punk's thought on the current pay. In the past, all sports, during the offseason, wrestlers had to get or even not just wrestlers, but baseball players, football players, they had to get other jobs.
Other jobs, some gainful employment.
That's right. Some even started their own business. Just imagine if Yogi Berra had Shopify all those years ago when he was out there pitching Yoo-Hoo. Imagine what he could have done, just what our listeners can do with Shopify.
What was he pitching Woo with Yoo-Hoos? What were you saying?
Yoo-Hoo. He owned Yoo-Hoo.
What?
Didn't he own a piece of Yoo-Hoo?
He owned Yogi Berra owned Yoo-Hoo?
I believe so. You never heard that?
I thought that Boo Boo owned Yoo-Hoo.
All right. We've crossed over, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't born in the 60s, you may not understand Yogi Berra and
things
Boo
are
Boo.
going north. Things are going north fast. So let me tell you, folks, you mentioned Shopify. That's what you mentioned, Brian. Is that what you mentioned?
That's what I mentioned.
You mentioned the people at Shopify. Well, I'll tell you what, they're fine people. We know they are, and they make that noise because they have this goddamn medical condition in between their thighs. But
whatever that would be, they don't have that.
Well, boy, I'll tell you what, they make a lot of noise when they roll over in bed. Folks, if you've got a dream and you don't want to just sit around all day and listen to two guys just fucking drone on, but you actually want to go out there and become productive members of society, I know it sounds daunting, but you need somebody on your side. You need a leader in e-commerce. You need a platform behind millions of businesses around the world. You need a staff of knowledgeable, experienced people that will go out there and they'll snatch money away from people and just bring it back and throw it at you. As long as you can provide the necessary goods and services that they can allegedly barter for that said money. And then, boy, once they've got that scam set up, then and just take a little vigorish off the top. But you can turn your big business idea into that thigh noise that goes ching, ching, ching.
I don't know. Maybe that's the thigh noise. Ka-ching is the Shopify noise. Ka-ching.
Ka-ching. Or is it cha-ching? Because now...
Is it cha-ching?
I think it's cha-cha-cha-cha-ching.
Oh.
What you do is you go to Shopify.com/Cornette. Cornette, that's my name is the code, and that's what you start hearing. Well, if you're already hearing that, folks, you might have some tinnitus. If I were you, I would see some type of ear doctor. But if you've got a big business idea, a concept, you need help with your website, you need help with your marketing, you need help with your merchandising, you need help counting all the money that's going to come rolling in when you've got a powerhouse like Shopify on your side, a rhinoceros of selling like Shopify that's literally going to trample and gore all the competition. Blood and intestines will be thrown into the streets as they clear the path for you to be the only one to make any money in a crisis like that where there's blood and gore and intestines being flung into the streets. My God, the sickening stench.
Again, for people who want help with business, Shopify works with us. They power our online store, and they can help you out without any stench of grisly death or anything else.
It's sickening. Brian, Shopify.com/Cornette is the code for the $1 a month trial period. They'll show you how good they are at removing intestines from a street corner. And then it's amazing how you'll fall right in line and make millions of dollars, and you'll retire with your feet up.
Amazing indeed. Of course, that was all metaphorically speaking. I'm not exactly sure what the metaphor is for, but Shopify.
Well, you want your feet up because you don't want to get stuck in all the goddamn guts and intestines that's littering the street.
Again, I don't know why you use this as an example. It doesn't seem like the best example, but once again, ladies and gentlemen, Shopify.com/Cornette. All right, a surprise ending there Didn't expect that. We are back.
We never thought that would happen.
Jim, speaking of surprises,
yes,
you surprised a lot of the listeners, and a lot of them are very happy about the news that you were going to watch and review Netflix's 4-part documentary on Diddy, Sean Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy and Puffy, and lots of other things.
And P. Diddy.
P. Diddy, Love. I think at one point he actually changed his name to Love, which is just crazy, considering what he was doing in his private life at the exact same time.
Well, his name was on everybody's lips.
Jim, what did you think? What did you see, and what did you think?
What did you see, ma'am? Just the facts. Now, what did you see when the car came careening around the corner at the orphan school children crossing the road? No, you teased me with the Diddy doc because I wanted to know about Diddy. Did he do it? What did he do? And if he did indeed do the things that he did, then how did Diddy do them? And all these type of things. And I went in with no preconceived notions, because I know this may be hard for some people out there to believe, but I didn't know who any of these goddamn people were. I don't know anything about fucking Diddy. I didn't know about 50 Cent. I knew about 350, but that's the last time I saw the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay, listen, 50 Cent was the producer, an executive producer of the documentary.
I know, but see, when you were talking about that 50 Cent has a grudge against Diddy for all the things that Diddy may do. So he's produced this. So I don't know if this is biased or not, but I didn't know him. I didn't know them. I still, after watching, and it took me a couple nights, because I got to be honest, by the time I get a chance to actually pay attention to something, it's now to 9 o'clock, and I went to sleep on a couple of them, had to rewind the next day and go back, but I got through all 4. I still don't know why he's made this much fucking money, or why people give a shit about his fucking thoughts on fashion, or why he should have a goddamn clothing line or a line of anything except a line of bullshit. That's the kind of line I think he's been probably proffering for the better part of his life. And it's like Vince. He starts out as a social climber, as Aunt Lola might have said. And back in the old days, he always was wanting to be around the important people and do the important thing that people do and make all this money. And then when he got the money, he became a complete goddamn maniac, had no fucking moral compass, no goddamn restraint whatsoever. And just because people continued to give him hundreds of millions of dollars, he would buy his way out of all of the goddamn trouble that he got in his social circle of other less than stellarly moral individuals who were all congregating around him. That was my takeaway from the whole thing, Brian. But what did you think?
That was highly profound and also probably correct. Again, there was a lot to take in. A lot about things that he did in the past. They litigated the murder of Tupac and the murder of Biggie. And a lot of people are now pointing the finger directly at him. The guy who apparently told the gang, I'll give you $1 million if you kill this guy and this guy.
Yeah, that's not suspicious now.
But again, it's
even when I made threats to Goofball, I didn't name the exact amount of money, only in private, but nevertheless.
Well, again, there was that. There was the, again, it's so long ago in the early 90s. What was it, 91? The City College riot and the deaths of 9 people? Geez, I forgot all about the details.
I knew nothing about this, but he promotes the concert where and he over promoted it. So they had too many people for the building and they just all tried to burst into these and crushed each other.
Yeah. And it wasn't even a concert. It was a celebrity basketball game. It was a hip hop basketball game.
Because why wouldn't it be? But somehow he makes this, a goddamn must-see event where we're going to run in frantically. You got to give him credit for being a promoter, but then he took that was the start of the pattern, right? He took no responsibility and tried to duck and dodge and start blaming other people or deflecting or whatever, which is kind of that. They interview his best friends and the people he started his record company with, who look like they've been homeless living under a bridge for years because he screwed all of them. Nobody's ever heard of them. They ain't got no money. And because he betrayed them in some fashion or another, right? I mean, a court stenographer couldn't have kept track of all of these various transgressions, so I'm trying to remember from memory, but how did they get the footage they got? He had a camera crew with him when he was about to be arrested. He's on the phone talking to his lawyer, and the lawyer's on a speakerphone. There's video of this. How did they get the video from the videographer? Did he fuck the videographer around?
I don't know for certain, but what I had heard was that potentially he was paying a videographer, or he had hired a videographer to take all this footage or make all this footage because he was planning something. And again, you say right before he was arrested, the day before in the hotel in New York, when he was planning on turning himself in, apparently that guy may not have been paid. And then he may have sold that footage to 50 Cent. And then 50 Cent, who happens to be the executive producer of this thing.
See, I knew we got back to 50 Cent some kind of way.
At a minimum, the production of this documentary got this from the actual videographer, I believe.
But the point is that he was almost like the rap version of John Gotti, right? The Teflon Don, where he's been involved in so many various things, but yet he would slip it or, slide out from under it or blame somebody else. Who was the one guy that went to jail for 10 years, said, no, I shot him.
Oh, Shine. Yeah.
Oh, Shine. Yeah. Well, everybody remembers Shine. He used to have such a bright personality. But apparently he took the bump, as they say, for old Diddy, because there's witnesses saying that Diddy shot the guy. And then, I mean, this didn't delve into, from all of the shit we heard in the court case that just concluded, this had interviews with a variety of women, but it didn't delve just into the whole baby oil debate and et cetera and what was going on there. But it was part of the overall thing. As many heinous things as he had done to his girlfriends, as I said, all of his ex confidants are either dead in prison or look like bums off the fucking street. He's just destroyed everybody in his goddamn periphery.
What did you think of seeing the childhood photos of him? Because they had his childhood best friend in the documentary, and of course, they fell out. And he's dressed like a little gangster at times, right? Like the mom is dressing him like a little Harlem gangster. It's kind of incredible.
Well, because they said the mom is suspect too, and probably one of those social climbers maybe. And they said that his childhood was bizarre and abusive and or, mentally or physically or both, whatever. And, so he had no idea of what the fuck he ought to be doing to begin with when he's a kid. And then he immediately, sort of like a Heyman, he started trying to promote shit. Did I go to sleep on one part of it? Or basically he started promoting the shit and producing the music and being the businessman, and then started performing, right?
Yeah, the way it worked was...
Did I nod off on something?
No, that's kind of the way it went. They didn't really go into detail with him and Andre Harrell, how he went from intern to living with the guy to, I'm going to be head of A&R, and then he leaves with Biggie. They didn't really go into the real nuts and bolts on that.
More nuts than bolts?
But he had Biggie, and he was, I know you didn't watch those videos. He was all over those fucking videos. Like, it would be Biggie, but it was all about this guy. If he wasn't dancing, he was driving. Like, he was like mouthing the words as much as the rappers sometimes.
So what, was he the George Goulas of the whole production?
No, because George wasn't the promoter. George would have to be the promoter too to really get that going. Like, imagine when Hulk Hogan was playing guitar in the 80s and Vince McMahon was behind him on drums. Like, it doesn't work. It just didn't happen. And Biggie gets killed, and right around that same period of time, because I remember, because Oasis would have had the #1 album with Be Here Now. It's not their greatest album, although I like the songs, but it was going to #1, and then Biggie got killed, and then Puffy's new album came out, which was him and the Family, and, that's when they had Sting with him and everything, and it became all about him. And I never thought he was really good, but a lot of people went with it. Now people are admitting it. That one guy who wrote his lyrics really made fun of his rap. He made him sound like Kermit the Frog rapping. But people went along with it and went along with the whole, like, Puffy thing. I remember when people started wearing Sean John stuff. I'm like, what are you embracing? What are you endorsing here? Why?
Well, he seems like a real pip. And now he's going to be, how long, much longer, he's locked up in Lompoc or somewhere for the 4 years or so, has he got?
I don't know. I want to say he gets out in a few years. They extended it a little bit because apparently, according to the news reports, they caught him with like some kind of prison vodka or something. So,
brewed in our very own toilet.
Yeah, I don't know how or why or from where.
So wait a minute. Okay, hold on.
Let me Google this. Now you're going to have me look. This is a review of the documentary. Come on.
While you Google that, hold on. Let me just make this commentary about the prison vodka. This motherfucker's been worth $1 billion, and he's been drinking all this goddamn highfalutin the Perrier and the Dom Perignon and the what's the kind that old Quentin Tarantino likes? The special champagne that he likes, or the cognac or the caviar or whatever the fuck. He's used to, and he's been in jail like a year maybe, and he's reduced to drinking vodka out of the toilet.
I didn't say that. You're assuming it's toilet vodka. I just said some kind of person. I said some
Cristal.
kind of.
Cristal is what he thinks it's. He was used to Cristal, and in a year he's sunk to drinking toilet vodka.
I have an article here from, there's a plane going down somewhere. I have an article here from Deadline by Dominic Patton. This is November 18th, so a few weeks ago. Diddy's bad week. Prison time extended. L.A. Sheriff's Office opens probe into sexual battery of producer. And that was actually another guy.
Wait a minute, he sexually battered a producer in prison over toilet vodka?
No, I think these are two separate things.
Now this story is getting bigger and bigger.
This was the producer in the documentary, and like maybe was it part 3 or part 4? This was the producer that just a few years ago, I woke up and said he felt sore. He didn't know what happened.
Well, goddamn, I was waiting for you to narrow it down a little more. Haven't we all been there? I wake up and feel sore almost every morning these days. I just thought it was the cold weather. I didn't know I was getting dicked by Diddy in the dark of the night.
Well, this article's very wordy. I'm just looking for a simple answer onto what exactly
just a simple answer on the toilet vodka and the assault of the producer in the shower of the prison.
Thank you, Google. Here's an AI overview. Yes, Sean Diddy Combs' prison release date was recently extended by about a month, from May 8th, 2028 to June 4th, 2028, reportedly due to rule violations at Fort Dix.
He said Dix.
Of all places to send him. Rule violation at Fort Dix. Leave the money on the nightstand. No. Rule violations at Fort Dix, including alleged homemade alcohol consumption and unauthorized phone calls, despite his denials and enrollment.
Wait a minute, how can you make an unauthorized phone call from fucking jail? Don't they have to let you use the phone?
You get a phone.
How do you get a fucking phone in jail?
You can get anything in jail.
But no, I'm saying if you can't have a phone in jail, so therefore you shouldn't be able to make unauthorized phone calls. But if you can get a phone in jail, they wouldn't be unauthorized phone calls. They'd just be phone calls. Because if you're not supposed to have a phone in jail, you're not supposed to be making any goddamn calls. Right?
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have a cell phone on you or a smartphone. No, that's against the rules.
God damn it. Well, how is this shit happening? Sounds like they need to crack down.
Well, he's serving a 50-month sentence currently after being convicted of prostitution-related charges in the summer of 2025. He receives credit for time served since his September 2024 arrest. And
well, that's just a year. He could do that standing on his head.
Potential for future reductions. Combs' participation in a drug treatment program could potentially earn him up to 12 months off his sentence, as noted by CBS News.
What does that mean? Then in that case, they experiment with drugs on him, and if he survives, they'll let him out early? Like, cancer cures and shit they inject in him? He's kind of like a guinea pig?
It's kind of like doing a defensive driving class in prison, but, you don't get points off your license, you get time off your sentence.
Well, fuck him. That's what he's in prison for, to be rehabilitated. They ought to keep him every single goddamn day of that so that they can do more rehabilitationating.
All right, well, we will, I guess we'll go back to the review.
So where did he assault the producer?
In Florida, wasn't it?
Well, what's he doing?
Well, I guess
in Florida?
LA too.
He's in prison.
It wasn't now. It was then.
Why is this? Well, in that case, why is this producer in prison 2 different places with Puff Daddy? You're not making any sense.
Again, you watched the documentary according to you, and Lil Rod was one of the people in the documentary. He was the producer. Lil Rod.
Oh, don't send him to Fort Dix, whatever you do.
Lil Rod made some accusations in the documentary, and of course there were, I guess, some legal proceedings behind that while working for Diddy, things got a bit weird. They got a bit Diddy.
So this is beforehand. He didn't do this in prison, so you confused me earlier.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen while in prison. That would be another rules violation. They may add another month for that.
So Rod got diddied by Diddy before that Diddy went away.
Did you not see Rod? Where did you give up in the documentary?
I don't know. I nodded off on some. I don't remember Rod's name, but maybe he was, I nodded off.
What did you think about the discussion on the death of Tupac and Biggie?
Well, it seems to me that, he's guilty, but he's covered his tracks well, apparently, if they're not trying to get him. If they got him on what they got him on and didn't have any way to get him on this stuff, then they ain't got getting material. But it seems like it's one of those, a lot of people saying it, when they put the pieces together, it works out well that every time that he has an issue with somebody, they went north.
The most fascinating thing is going to be when he gets out, how he's going to try to babyface himself. Because he's not going away. He's not giving up. He's going to be out for revenge. How's he going to babyface himself to the public after all of this? Because he's going to try. There's no way he won't try.
How old of a person is he now?
He's got to be in his 50s. Hold on.
Can you see it when he's 70 something? He's trying to go out there and being like poor Smokey Robinson.
56. Oh my God. Someone just sent us a clip because we talked about him. And it was, I guess, a recent-ish concert. And someone near the stage was filming on their phone. And it was just him gyrating his hips and everything. And he's an old man now and he's doing it and thinking, oh, this is the guy chasing the mechanic around in his underwear.
Well, that's gonna be old Diddy here in 25 years. He's gonna be 80 years old, and he's gonna have a surgically reconstructed melting face, and he's gonna be fucking breathing heavy on fucking records.
Well, we will see what happens. Again, it's interesting. I'll say this too. for all the rightful criticism that all the record producers or really record company heads, executives get for ripping off artists in the 50s. It didn't start there, but that's really where people start focusing on it. The 60s, and, you know, people learn their lesson eventually, but it still happened. Whether it's a bad guy like Morris Levy or someone who was revered like Ahmet Ertegun, a lot of these guys stole writing credits or had people sign away rights when they had no idea what they were doing. Diddy was worse than all of them when it comes to just that, when it comes to ripping off artists who made him. Because again, he sucks musically. Like, you can't get away from that. He had talented people. Mace just vanished. That guy was like the sound of the Diddy songs, and then he was gone. Like, he left the business. He went into religion.
They had that one girl was quoted as saying, "Oh yeah, it was a horrible contract. The lawyer said he's selling you fame, not fortune, and I signed it anyway." He was the Jack Pfeffer of the music business. He was taking a piece of everybody's money.
How do you think the public's going to react to him when he gets out?
I mean, there's always somebody that's going to be the fan of the, you know, big music star, or for the fashion icon that he is, or whatever his latest, you know, the vodka, whichever thing he was fucking selling. There's always going to be, but for the general public, I don't know that anybody's going to really think of him that fondly, and not a lot more people are going to be hopping on his bandwagon. It's going to be, I mean, was Michael Jackson still making new fans at the end? He didn't, you know, in any way have the various issues this fucking creep has had. And he was actually a goddamn insane talent. But he was kind of, before he even died, until he died, he was kind of like, we don't want to be around Michael anymore. All right.
I mean, I felt like that, but they were always crazy Michael Jackson fans.
But there were always Michael Jackson fans, but it weren't like a bunch more new ones were being made every day.
No one was like, hey, let me go get behind that multiple time accused child molester.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
It wasn't like, you know, people suddenly making the decision, you know, I'd never really cared for Michael Jackson's music, but son of a bitch, if it's not starting to grow on me. So I think Diddy is as big as Diddy's ever going to be again. There's still going to be some, but it's not like he's going to have some giant new phase of his career after all this shit.
So how do you grade the documentary on Netflix? The exact name I forget, but it's something related to Diddy, about Diddy.
Something related to Diddy, and I enjoyed it. He's a very scummy person who deserves to have people talking badly about him. So I enjoy when that happens.
And because it relates to wrestling, how was your Netflix experience watching it?
Oh, it sucked also because it kicked off. While I said I nodded off on several different points of it, it also kicked off, and I had to go back and restart the whole thing from scratch about 3 times to watch 4 episodes. So yeah, I hate the streaming TV too.
All right, well, this has been Jim's review. Next week, Monster Squad here on the show, right? Yeah, come on, I'm trying to get a commitment out of you. Yeah, next week, the King of Kong.
Maybe over Christmas. Over Christmas, man.
All right. Well, you know, Jim, Diddy will get out. And there are also sounds that need to get out. And where they can go.
Sounds! You're going to make noises.
Hey! Where that sound actually goes is in your ear. And what else goes in your ear is a...
I'll tell you what, you can stick it in your ear there, pal.
What I'm about to say is, Jim, that there is a great functionality to Raycon in your ear.
Just words and phrases, folks. If you'd like to hear sounds like that, well, maybe that's a bad example. I don't know if anybody wants to hear sounds coming out of Brian Last's organ or orifice.
Hey.
But if you'd like to be able to be aware of the world around you and the wonders that are contained therein while still listening to your really clear sounding music, your rock and roll, baby, or your pop or your hip hop or, well, anything but goddamn marching music from the 1600s in Romania. You need the Raycon Essential Open Earbuds that are here for the holiday season and selling fast because the regular earbuds block out everything. You can't hear a car honking or potentially a commercial plane bearing down on you at a rate of hundreds of miles per hour or somebody screaming, "You dumb fuck, get out of the way!" See, but now you can. Because these sit just outside your ear canal, over in the ear lock, ready to be opened in case of heavy rain. So you get really clear sound, but you can actually hear what's happening around you. They're lightweight. The ear hook rotates. For, there's a lot of people that unfortunately have that problem where the back of their ear is in the front, and therefore the flap sometimes does not sit on the right side for your ear hook. But this thing rotates, so all of you backward-eared people, well, you don't have to get the special adapter that you normally have to write into Chicago, Illinois, 60609 for.
You don't have to write in for any adapter, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Raycon does it all. Yeah, this will flip around. Yeah, it's because, and then the thing is, there's so much more wind resistance when the back of your ear is in the front and you're just flapping.
Listen, I don't know.
But if you want to wear these at the gym or on walks, doing stuff around the house, some people are engaging in marathon dancing as well as walking on your hands down the street. See how long? Because it still won't fall off, especially if the lobe of your ear is on top. Now, we've had some of the feedback from those listeners as well. Raycon has feedback from over 3 million customers, and the sound quality is just as good as way more expensive brands that are just gouging you. Whether they're gouging your ears or they're gouging your eyes, they're gouging your wallets. But Raycon is half the price because they're not paying for celebrity endorsements and all that retail markup stuff. No, there's no celebrity endorsements for Raycon. They just got me talking about them. And if you don't like that, well, you can blow me because, I don't care. And they've got the features, the multi-angular hook that I mentioned, the open ear design. They're lightweight, the multi-point connection. You can, and here's one way to really cross yourself up. Go ahead and program one of the earbuds to play one thing and the other earbud to play the other thing and try to listen to them at the same time and see if you can rub your belly and pat your head at the same time. I think not. And 36 hours of battery life with 8 hours for the earbuds and 36 hours with the case there. So you can just listen for days of nonstop listening, which apparently means you've been kidnapped and are being subjected to some type of torture, because why would you want to listen or do anything for days without sleep? But you can hear. So right now, folks.
Right now.
Just do it. Just do it. Don't stop.
Go for it.
The essential open earbuds are here. And as I said, they're selling fast. But right now you go to buyraycon.com. That's BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE open for 20% off this holiday season. All the Raycon audio products, the plethora of things that are available at that website, buyraycon.com, with the code /JCE open. And immediately it's like an open sesame. It's a spell where instantly the Wizard of Oz turns from black and white to color, and the treasure is revealed in National Treasure, and the 7 golden cities of Cibola lay before you with that magic code word, and people will genuflect and throw roses at your feet, and then 72 virgins and one girl that's a little shady, we're not quite sure, will commit fellatio upon your body.
What are you saying?
It's important you get the code, because then all things are made available to you at JCE Open at buyraycon.com. It opens a world to the possibility.
For the record, it opens you up to this wonderful deal, up to 20% off this holiday season. That's what it opens you up to. It doesn't open you up to anything else. Just want to make sure we're clear about what the deal is.
Shady, and we're not quite sure about her, so you still may have a chance.
Once again, buyraycon.com/JCE Open this holiday season.
Yes, and after all, what's the holidays without a little fun under the mistletoe?
Wanted to ask your thoughts on something I saw that you retweeted from Arena Mexico. Neon, who we recently saw.
Was that where that was from? Was that who that was?
Yes, it was who. I hate to laugh because the guy's clearly fucked up now. He got pulled out of the Continental Classic or whatever he was going to be in it with AEW. He did a move that I saw someone describe as his signature move. I hate to laugh. It's so funny. I'll let you describe it.
God damn it. It's like somebody watching somebody take a big wet shit to say that's their signature shit. They're known for that one. Okay, somebody on Twitter tweeted a 10-second clip of a match somewhere. It appeared, obviously I knew it was in Mexico because there were Spanish words on a screen, but otherwise I didn't know what promotion, I didn't know what guy. It was just like this 10 seconds of this guy doing a run-in on a match, and the results of same. The guy runs down the entry ramp or whatever, and instead of it looks like he's coming down to just make a save or help somebody out or whatever, but instead of actually going into the ring, he jumps up onto the top rope and then is going to leap to the other top rope and then dive off onto a guy on the other side of the fucking ring, to the right hand of where he's coming out. So he could have actually just goddamn jumped off the fucking ramp, run around the ring post and punched him in the face. But as he jumps to the first rope, it's fine. And then he jumps to the second rope and starts to turn, and the second rope wasn't fine. And he just dives with his arms outstretched, head first to the ground, past the guy that he was going to dive on, and fell in a fucking heap. And then the video that was tweeted was clipped because that was like 7 or 8 seconds. And then you see the ringside medical crew, I guess they've got, he's on a stretcher. And while the match in the ring is apparently still going on, they have put this guy on a stretcher and they're carrying him back up the same ramp he just came down. And on the screen that's playing their sponsors is a fucking Mexican medical clinic advertisement.
I didn't even notice that. Is that what that was?
I did not notice that. That's part of it.
No, I did not notice that.
And so now we find that it's Neon. He and Leon used to be a hell of a team. It's Neon, and he's out of the Continental Classic. Who was the guy that came out and did the big return and did a run-in and a promotion here not too long ago we talked about?
I remember, yeah.
His big return was jumping to the top rope and falling off of it. Who was that?
And for the record, I think I was wrong. He's not in the Continental Classic, but CMLL has put out a press release saying he's pulled from all these future dates. You were talking about Bandito, and I think it was Ring of Honor, where he made his big return and he went,
oh, that's right, his big return, and bam, and his big fucking, and they carried him out. It's
remember El Pibe Diaz on 605, the guy who did a flip onto the floor, landed on his head, and then the children and just ringside attendants all got together and like just carried him and dragged him out of the building. I mean, I hope Neon's okay, obviously.
Well, yeah, but why was that for him to do that thing that important? if the story of their match was he was going to come out and help somebody or interfere in some kind of way or whatever. I assume he's a babyface.
I believe so. That is his signature double jump moonsault to the outside. So he's done it before, never missed. Again, if you watch it back, you see his foot miss on, like, I guess the second mini jump or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And then that triggered the whole thing.
If that's his signature move, he's going to need to change his name, isn't he?
CMLL informs the fans that due to the injury suffered by Neon during the event held last Friday, December 5th at Arena Mexico, El Asteroid del Ring will not be able to participate in his scheduled commitments on the following dates. Monday.
And the Asteroid of the Ring.
I like that.
Brian, but that's cool. But when you think about it, what does an asteroid do? It becomes a fireball on re-entry and then crashes and burns.
Oh, God. Oh. Well, he won't be at Arena Pueblo on the 8th or Arena Coliseo in Guadalajara on the 9th. He won't be in Toluca on the 10th. And next Friday...
What about Toluca Lake?
He won't be in Arena Mexico next Friday. We appreciate the public's understanding, and we send our best wishes to Neon for speedy recovery. Any final thoughts on the Neon injury?
Well, should I say that Neon wasn't too bright? He had a flickering moment of fame, but then his switch was turned off in a twinkling of an eye.
Well, get well soon, Neon. Sorry about you not appearing in the Continental Classic. That was my mistake.
He shall be Neon.
Jim, on the topic of mistakes, I want to make a correction for something I said on a recent show.
Uh-oh.
I said that the first Survivor Series where Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon got monster pops coming out, I said it was at the Rosemont Horizon. That was incorrect. It was in Richfield, Ohio. So I apologize.
The Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. Richfield, Rosemont. It happens all the time. Tomato, fuck, fuke.
Well, again, I apologize for any confusion. My mistake.
Well, you fuked up.
Jim, any thoughts on The Rock receiving a Golden Globe nomination?
Oh, you mean Dwayne? I thought you had any thoughts on The Rock. Which one? One out in the front yard or the one out in the backyard?
Dwayne Johnson has received a nomination for Best Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama that no one paid to see from the Golden Globes. He's up for the Golden Globes Best Male Actor for a Drama.
Boy, is this one of those deals where one of those fine, Shakespearean type actors toils away in obscurity in motion pictures that nobody sees, while at the same time, there's Chill Wills and Andy Devine are in the biggest box office hits in the country and just everybody's watching them on a weekly basis. Is Dwayne, even though nobody wanted to see that movie, is he finally going to get his due as a big time actor fella?
All that makeup.
That's what
all that makeup. He's Boris Karloff. He's unrecognizable as the Smashing Machine. No, it's completely recognizable who the fuck the Smashing Machine is in this movie.
He's unrecognizable as a human being. With that, but no, maybe he instead of Boris Karloff, could he be Lon Chaney?
Maybe so.
No, you see, it's just you don't like The Rock, but now all these other Golden Globe people, they're all getting together and they're trying to recognize The Rock as being a sensational actor that he is and the biggest talent in the world, because they're all scared that all these big conglomerations are going to put them all out of business and then they're going to have to come begging him for money because he's hooked up with the fucking big movers and shakers like Nick Khan and etc. And so they're sucking up to him and they're giving him these awards for his golden brass balls or globes.
Can I make a prediction?
What's the prediction?
He's going to win it.
Well, yes.
I think the campaign is on. I think if there's anyone that's going to give Dwayne Johnson an award, it's the fucking Hollywood foreign press. That's exactly who he fucking markets himself and pushes himself to. I think he'll win the award, and I think he'll have no chance in hell at an Oscar.
That's what this is kind of like the FIFA Peace Prize.
Yeah, the brand new Peace Prize from soccer.
Yeah, right. You know, because here this guy's got a lot of money. He might be able to help us out. Let's give him a fucking award. It's the same principle. I never thought much of the Golden Globes, but no, in all seriousness, if is it the old art over commerce? The movie bombed. It didn't, do anywhere near what it cost not only to make but to market. But if they can somehow present Dwayne with something, it'll be better for him when he gets back into the Fast and the Furious 17 or whatever the fuck is going to make $550 million.
You think he ever gets juiced up again? Like big juiced up?
Well, he's getting old for that. Not that he can't do it, but that he shouldn't do it. So I don't know at this point if he needs to, or if he can just be, because he's still bigger than all of these Hollywood actors are diminutive when you actually get them next to normal sized people. Or maybe I'm just skewed because I've spent the past 50 years of my life around larger than normal sized people. But I don't think he needs to be Conan anymore. I think he could get by with just being Dwayne Johnson in shape.
All right. Well, congratulations, Dwayne Johnson, and good luck.
You don't mean that.
I do mean that.
You know you don't.
Honestly, I don't give a shit about any of the movies at this thing. So yeah, I mean that. Good luck.
What's his competition? Do we know?
The guy who plays Springsteen is a good actor. I liked him on Shameless, and apparently the other show he does now is really good. I just haven't seen it. He's the one who played Kerry Von Erich. If Kerry Von Erich was 5'5".
Oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, he's Springsteen now. Well, who's a smaller guy too, but yeah, I think Dwayne Johnson will win. I really do. I think the campaign is on. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Who's he up against? Does it say what the field of competition is?
Hold on. We'll end with
for this prestigious award. Do they get a leg lamp?
I don't
to display in their front window. Whoever the winner is.
You get a trophy and all the memories that go with it.
That you can put in the Aura frame.
Jim, best performance by a male actor in a motion picture. Drama. The nominees are Dwayne Johnson, Smashing Machine. Jeremy Allen White, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. A.K.A. New Jersey.
So wait. His movie has an AKA already?
No. I added that.
But this is the guy that was Carrie, because Jeremy Allen White. I got no idea. But this is the guy that was Carrie in The Claw.
Kerry Von Erich, yes. Joel Edgerton, Train Dreams. Joel Edgerton, Train Dreams.
Have you ever heard of this guy or this movie?
By name, I'm not familiar with him. I've not heard of this movie. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. So yeah, I've not heard of him. No, I guess not now.
Okay, yeah, that pretty much covers everything.
Michael B. Jordan, Sinners.
Okay.
He's a good actor.
Michael Jordan, the basketball player.
No. Man, the episode of Seinfeld, my favorite line was on last night. Man, that Michael Jordan, he's so phony. No, this is Michael B. Jordan, who, when he was a kid, was on The Wire.
Oh, I thought that was Michael Basketball Jordan.
No, this is the actor who played. He was in Creed. Also, two more nominees: Oscar Isaac, Frankenstein.
Was he Frankenstein? Who I didn't know they did Frankenstein. Have they done Frankenstein again?
I believe he was Dr. Frankenstein. I will click on this to get more information. And the final.
So he was Colin Klein.
The final nominee, Wagner Moura.
Oh, come on now.
For The Secret Agent. Jim, NXT name or porn star? Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent.
He must have been a secret agent because nobody's ever heard of him. What? Who the fuck are these people? There's no Mickey Rooney's. There's no goddamn names. We need names, Vincenzo. This is gibberish.
Jim, I have info here. Go ahead.
No wonder Dwayne's getting the nod. Well, just no wonder Dwayne's, at least somebody's heard of him. Go ahead.
Frankenstein is a 2025 American Gothic science fiction film produced, written, and directed by Guillermo del Toro, based on the 1818 novel by Mary Shelley. It stars Oscar Isaac, who we mentioned before, as Victor Frankenstein, and Jacob Elordi as the creature, with Mia Goth and Christopher Waltz in supporting roles. The story follows the life of Frankenstein, an egotistical scientist whose experiment in creating new life results in dangerous consequences.
I believe we're familiar with the synopsis of the plot, Brian.
What are your thoughts? Are you interested in seeing a modern take, 100 years, almost 100 years after the classic? Are you interested in seeing?
Well, I will give this a go. I'll give it a swing, but I don't know who any of these people are.
This is on Netflix, apparently. Because the film poster I'm seeing here says Netflix.
Oh boy! See, they're trying to put the theaters out of business already.
But I think Dwayne's going to win this.
But they need names like John Garfield, for God's sake.
That's the name you're going to use? All right.
Well, they need somebody that people recognize.
Well, let's get away from this. No Carradines, no Barrymores. I don't know what's happening out there. Jim, we move on here with the show.
Yes, what about a good song by Jenny Lind?
I'm looking here at my notes of things we have to talk about. Paramount! The spoiler! We put up a clip the other day talking about the news that had broken Netflix to buy WBD pending approval. Then it came out that Paramount, who felt like a jilted lover, I guess, thought they were going to get it.
Spurned.
They're not giving up. They're launching a hostile takeover and offering $30 per share, I believe.
And a blowjob.
There's no guarantees of that. But if you have enough shares, $30 a share, you may get one. What are your thoughts on the attempted hostile takeover and the fact that the Netflix deal may not... And again, there are differences. Paramount wants to eat up the whole thing. Netflix is asking for various entities that are part of the thing.
They don't want those crummy TV networks, those TNTs and TV. They just want the stuff that's making big money.
Yeah.
But you know what the sad state of affairs of this whole thing, it's Paramount. It's not if RKO Pictures only still existed, we could say RKO out of nowhere. See what I did there?
That is pretty good. I do miss the name RKO. It's such a good name for a company.
For a movie studio.
Yeah.
Now people think of it as a wrestling move, and it was been the perfect synergy, but they couldn't stay in business. And they had the Tarzan franchise at one point. And nevertheless, so Paramount said, fuck your $83 billion. We'll give you $108 billion. Is what they said. And they want the whole thing, just lock, stock, and barrel, clean out your drawers and be on your way. We're taking over. And the Ellisons that are in with President Pigshit and his entire crime family, because before I was thinking, well, all Netflix has to do is just pay whatever the percentage is that the Trump family is going to want to rubber stamp this, and they're in. But now they've got an opponent that's even more in with asshole than they are because he's already approved their previous multi-billion-dollar merger. So now Netflix is going to be, and do they still have to pay the $5 billion that they promised if it didn't come off, or that's not their fault? They're trying to make it come off.
Yeah, I don't know.
But nevertheless, Paramount has come in and said, no, we're going to give you more money, whether you like it or not. And we can get approved, wink, wink. And they already have in the past got approved because they're all in the same business of being crooked together. So Netflix is now net fucked, apparently.
Well, it's going to come down now to the board of directors against the shareholders, it sounds like. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. You know, either way, it still goes back to the reason people were talking about this when it relates to wrestling, AEW. Their footing is going to be unstable, whether they admit it or not. And it may eventually have to change completely. But this still isn't good. Just the idea that you're on a channel and you exist on that channel, like you're grateful for it, and there aren't a lot of other homes for you. You know, it's a scary time, I would think, right now. It's so unstable.
Some people said, well, at least Netflix was, Raw is one of their top 10 shows, and they would be biased or whatever toward, but at least Paramount doesn't have the Paramount does more business with TKO than Netflix does. Paramount has the UFC. Paramount has the bull riding. Paramount has, they have a boxing business going now. TKO does. So that's the thing. There's two things to look out for. Number one, any entity is going to want to have the number one franchise in whatever if they want to be number one. And more importantly, somebody's going to go into a ton of debt. And of course, Paramount again has, the son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Saudi money. So there's all kinds of resources available at their League of Super Criminals disposal to pour into this, but they're going to be in a ton of debt like they were when they bought the UFC. When they started eliminating positions or whatever, or like any other major acquisition, they're going to look at all the deals. They're going to consider whether there's redundancies and whether they consider another brand of wrestling as a redundancy, but they're also going to see what the performances are. And Tony Khan was given $150 million whatever deal for his performance when he was performing a lot better than the latest performances. So it doesn't mean they're going to cancel him that week or find a loophole, but they're certainly not going to try to renew at any kind of numbers like they've got now. With the WWE, they will accept the WWE as Netflix has, and some of these other things has, as a loss leader to draw people into their overall goddamn thing. AEW is not drawing a lot of people into their thing, much less the overall thing. Am I lying here, Brian?
Again, there's an audience that believes there's this giant number on Max, but you brought up how Raw's always in the top 10 on Netflix, even if the numbers aren't great. You never hear that about AEW, that they're a top performing show on Max. Not only that, we constantly hear feedback from people who do use Max and can't find it. Like, it's not like they make it a priority or they make it easy to find. You have to search for AEW Dynamite on the home screen when it's on. And that's not good. It's not really a big priority. They've already said that sports haven't done good numbers on there. So then you say, well, AEW is not sports, it's entertainment. It's never in the top entertainment shows on Max. But we have to take them at their word that an audience bigger than what they had left to go to another service to start streaming it. while it was also the worst and most boring time in the company history. Was that your question? What was your question?
I can't remember, so I think you answered it.
Well, any final thoughts on, jump ball? No. Who's going to buy WBD?
It's gonna keep being fewer entities owning almost everything, and not only is it going to squeeze out marginal players, but it's also, there are legitimate big issues such as consolidation of the news media and whether we're going to be able to get the true stories from anybody anymore instead of just from everybody except Fox News, and whose regulatory approval from the government depends on what nice things they say about the fucking piece of shit in the White House until sanity returns and we get rid of this. And then, again, most multi-billionaires and people in charge of this type of thing, the Sinclair debacle is an example, are going to try to control what all of their various outlets are saying or thinking or leading people to believe or whatever. And none of these people need to be in the wrestling business. We all forget that sometimes. Where's the program going to go? It might just go home. Because it's too big now. It's not about local television or even a regional sports network. With all this money and these massive conglomerates, not one of them is thinking, but I need to be in the wrestling business. If people watch it, they'll be in the projectile diarrhea business. But if people quit watching it and they're paying too much money for the shit, they'll drop the shit. So we all need to watch out for that.
Well, Jim, before we move on, I want to mention as breaking news, silver prices smash a new record outpacing gold. The precious metal has more than doubled in value since the start of the year, rising above $60 per troy ounce on New York's commodity exchange on Tuesday for the first time ever.
Jesus, that is, it was $40 an ounce back in the silver craze of the late 70s when I cleaned up. So even adjusted for inflation, I did better then than I would today. But that's a lot of money for silver. You know why? Because all those TV commercials trying to scare all these poor fucking old people, and oh goddamn, the world's going to collapse and I'm going to need my gold and silver. I can feel it. I can touch it. It's here when all the money's worthless. You think an 86-year-old woman from Scranton, Pennsylvania is going to be able to survive in a post-apocalyptic world solely because she has silver to barter with? If it comes to a point where we are bartering with silver in the United States of America, then they're going to take that fucking silver from that 86-year-old woman and cut her head off with a goddamn sword. So and how would an 86-year-old woman in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Brian, know who to barter with? Shit. The local government has fallen and there's no law enforcement. They've all run for the hills and shit's burning. So I need to call Claude, my food guy, and offer him some silver. Does that answer your question?
Well, I guess my point was going to be whether it's silver and the modern silver heirs out there, or if it's the many people bidding for WBD. Everyone's looking for a prize, and everyone has a pick, funny enough. And Jim, we know some people that we could send the listeners to if they got some picks they want to make for the opportunity to win some prizes. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
No, not really. I don't think anybody does. But our friends at Prize Picks might have some idea of what you were saying. But at the same point, it seemed like it was a second language. But I'll tell you one thing: when you've got picking the right thing is important in your life, Brian, whether it's when you walk into the theater and you pick your seat or whatever it is, making the right choice. And that's why Prize Picks, they can make you money if you pick the right thing, because Prize Picks, folks, again, You got daily fantasies, and then you got Prize Picks. They stand above. They are the blue-veined throbber of daily fantasies. They're the big boy. And it's since it's the holiday season, it's the best time of the year for sports because you got the bowl games, the basketball matchups, the playoff pushes. You've got that celebrity cow fighting ring. It's all happening at once.
I don't think they have that, and I don't think they have anything that is not legal in civilized society.
Well, no, they got the cows licensed. But while you and I are out here making decisions every day, folks, in our lives, what gifts to buy, what holiday habits to have, whether to go see grandma or grandpa, because, you know, they split up over that whore in Richmond. But there's one place where it feels good to be right about the decision you make, and that's at Prize Picks. And again, Prize Picks is offering all of the things that you would expect Prize Picks to offer with the daily fantasy scores. Like you can make picks on free throws made, field goals attempted, turnovers even. Not only turnovers, but also all matter of lattice apple pies, as well as the pastries that you've come to enjoy. And they've got early payouts.
Early payouts.
Prize Picks, early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you can cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And then you better run just in case things go sideways in the last inning. If your fantasy season is already over, but with Prize Picks, you don't have to wait until next year's draft. They let you play fantasy football every week. Just like you're accustomed to having sex, you sit home every week and play with yourself and pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections. Every week they draw a circle on the ground, and if they hit it, you win. And folks, again, all you got to do is download the Prize Picks app right now before we go any further, and you can use the code JCE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, the math on this is simple. You just kick in $5. You can find that in the couch cushion. And you play that, and they're going to give you $50 more. And that's what you can, and then by that time, you're in so deep, you'll never want to get out. So once again, folks,
that's not the way we want to look at it, and that's not the way it'll be, folks. You play, and you do, and you have chances, and
you play and do, and you'll never want to leave because you'll always think one more, and I can.
No, again, you can leave whenever you want, and you won't think that. And Jim won't think that or say that.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never let. And if you do leave, you're a quitter. But download the Prize Picks app today and use the code JCE.
It's the code JCE, ladies and gentlemen, as I roll back to my desk.
Yes.
JCE is the code.
And that's what you'll get. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, because at Prize Picks and here on the program, it's good to be right.
All right, Jim.
That sounded like you could only reach one end of the keyboard.
I'm over here now, and those are the sounds that tickle you so much, but we have more show. We have more things to talk about here.
Yeah. Hey, as a matter of fact, I've got a piece of breaking news here. This apparently happened this morning, but it's just been passed over my desk here by the Bureau. Have you heard about this, Brian? The headline, Jeopardy champion arrested on felony secret peeping charges.
First of all, I didn't know secret peeping was a official title, but no, I've not heard about this story.
And at first I thought they've arrested this sumbitch. They found out he peeked at the answers, but apparently that's not it. It's not a felony to secretly peep at the answers on Jeopardy, but a Jeopardy champion, Philip Joseph Joey DeCina, has reportedly been arrested in North Carolina on 2 charges of felony secret peeping. DeCina appeared on the show back in November 2024 and won twice before departing. He also took part in the Champions Wild Card Tournament. Walked away with $44,698 during his irregular stint, and then did not advance past the semifinals in the Wild Card Tournament, but he was taken into custody on December 1st, 2025. He's a development engineer from Raleigh, North Carolina, and according to the arrest warrant, he was accused of unlawfully, willfully, and feloniously installing in a room any device that can be used to create a photographic image, namely camera placed in the bathroom, with the intent to capture the image of another without their consent.
The Chuck Berry, yeah.
He pulled a Chuck Berry. He put a camera in the bathroom.
There are certain wrestlers that may take money and send you those videos. I don't know why you have to go to such low depths to get that footage.
Well, it's part of the thrill. It's part of the kicks that these young people get with putting these fancy Dan cameras in the bathrooms. Committed this crime on October 10th, 2025. So apparently, if they've narrowed it down to the specific date, he got busted the first time he did it. But a development engineer, he's too smart for his own good. Felonious peeping, Brian.
That's crazy.
And forever on his record, secret peeping, felonious secret peeping. He will be known on his record forever as a secret peeper, which is not as good or as honorable as being a secret shopper.
How'd they catch him? Did they have to secretly peep on the secret peeper?
They had a camera.
They filmed him filming them.
Yeah.
And then they retrieved the footage and they were looking back at each other.
Looking back to see if I was looking back to see if you were looking back at me. Yeah, they have the footage to prove that he has the footage. To prove that I don't know, was he taking footage of his inchage?
Is it unfair for Jeopardy to be lumped in with this story now that we're talking about it?
Yes. Well, that's what he's known for besides his
secret peeping
and his development engineering. He's basically known for Jeopardy. But what was this now a place of business? Or was this like just his bathroom at home? Where his fucking friend came over one day and said, wait a minute, how come you recorded me pissing?
It says here, I just Googled it, his favorite wrestler was Shawn Stasiak.
Hey! There was no pissing involved, just pissing and moaning on that recording.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this has been...
He looks like a nice enough fellow. He doesn't look like a secret peeper.
AEW fan from Asheville? What do you think?
No, he looks like he's got a haircut and he's shaved. So I think he's a little too clean.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All righty.
We will stay on top of the secret peeper beat. I can't say it.
You want to stay on top of the secret peeper? I think I'll give him plenty of room.
We'll see what happens. Want to make another correction here, ladies and gentlemen. The other day...
What are you... You're fucking up constantly now?
Just left and right. The other day I had a conversation, a text exchange with Stephen Pinu, 87750 mentioned he was going to be in the New York area. I told him, watch the Seinfeld Hour at 11 p.m. on Channel 11, and you could see every crazy legal commercial in New York. Spectre and Associate, every crazy law firm commercial you will see in that hour. I'm disappointed to say that they have removed the Seinfeld Hour. It turns out it's now Friends into Seinfeld for a half hour into another Friends. I don't know why they did it like this, but I wanted to make that correction to Stephen Pinu, a fine man, 87750
And if you call 87750 he will tell you how pissed he is that he had to sit there and suffer through a half an hour of Friends just to get to the Seinfeld, because Seinfeld must feel like the meat in an idiot sandwich being shoved in between there.
You never liked Friends at all?
I don't know why any of them like each other.
Have you ever have you ever watched an episode of Friends?
I've sat and watched it. I like Phoebe a bit because she's quirky and offbeat. But the rest of them, I think, are too namby-pamby and goody-goody for their own good. And I don't like them at all. I don't wish them well in their future endeavors. I don't have any sense of vicarious triumph when they have some type of accomplishment or gain some milestone. I wish nothing but ill for them, and I hope that they have unhappy lives and broken marriages.
All right, well, some of that has come true. But anyway, it's a funny show. It's actually very well written. Check it out sometime. Friends.
Yeah, well, I've written it off.
Friends.
I've written it off.
But it was the Seinfeld hour. I think Seinfeld was on at 11, like even when it was on Channel 5. Like this syndicated package has gone around New York a few times.
Oh, yeah. This package has been around New York. It's been around like a carousel.
So
they'll just let anybody have a hold of that package.
A big change. Jim, on the topic of TV, we're going to end this week with something that may or may not work. It may or may not be good. We will see what happens.
Well, there will not be a departure for this program, but I'm looking forward to it because you've been telling me about this. This is something I have never heard of before in a media-related professional wrestling incident here.
Well, Jim, what we have here is something I'm completely fascinated by, and I wonder how familiar you are with any of this and what your thoughts are on it. It's from the People's Court in 1998. I had never seen this until recently. It's on YouTube. Harvey Levin is still the host of the show. I don't know if he still does that. But it's featuring a wrestler who is kind of notorious, in a sense up here, Boss Hog Calhoun. Did you ever encounter the alleged grandson of Haystack Calhoun, who had no relation at all to Haystack Calhoun? Did you ever encounter Boss Hog?
I don't. I mean, he could have been in a building I was in, but I don't know that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting him or any personal interactions. But I've got a freeze frame of this. It is a People's Court show, and I've got a freeze frame of this character. I guess he's the one on the left, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Why is he's obviously 450 or 500 pounds, but why is he wearing a flowered printed women's grandma dress? That's a dress, right? He's wearing a dress and his face is painted?
That is a great question. And actually, that's one of the questions that Judge Koch asks right away. Ed Koch was the judge at this point in time on the People's Court, Jim.
Well, this fellow, Mr. Calhoun, is standing next to a guy wearing sunglasses, so he's probably an outlaw manager, and...
That's Crazy Don Rock. He's a New York indie guy, late 80s, maybe early 90s, I guess even here in the 1998.
Well, there's another guy standing behind him wearing a fake Mark belt, a reproduction of some kind. You can't see it, it's obscured, and then... apparently a troll who works at the Keebler Cookie Factory standing there. I don't know what she has no wrists. Her fingers are just coming out of the end of a pudgy arm. And her face looks like it was squashed in an industrial vise and then pubic hair glued on top of it. So I don't know what's going on with these people, but
she will be introduced. She will be introduced to you throughout this. And
okay.
Boss Hog Calhoun was a guy who he would show up everywhere. If John Arezzi did something, he would be there. If Vince Russo as Vicious Vincent did something, this guy would be there. And it wasn't necessarily like he was selling anything. He just seemed like he wanted to tell people that he was the grandson of Haystacks Calhoun and that he was coming into the WWF to work with The Undertaker.
Oh, Christ on a cracker.
And it was almost believable when you were a kid because he's a gigantic, fat fucking guy. Like, oh my God, what would The Undertaker do with this?
Oh, he's got his own gravitational pull, no doubt about it.
Plus, you know, being the grandson of Haystacks Calhoun, known for his incredible...
That means everything.
That's right. So, he had this bullshit story. He never went to WWF. I didn't know he was doing any of this. He showed up when the New York hotlines, the free hotlines were a thing. as Johnny Gimmick, the voice of wrestling. And he had a great voice for it. And then he vanished. But here we have the People's Court. We will start this audio. We will stop it along the way to review it. And let's get an idea of what this story is.
That will do it for this case. We are going to change gears big time. You got to remember, these cases are absolutely real. Take a look.
Oh, this is the plaintiff, Titanic Tony. He contends he hired the defendant to help him fulfill his lifelong dream, to become a professional wrestler. However, the huge, fast-talking wrestler did everything but train him. He was humiliated, subjected to beatings in the ring, and forced to be the guy's flunky. He's suing for $600. The money, he's out.
Now let's stop it here for a moment. This is a new character being introduced into our production. Titanic Tony, suing for $600.
Has walked into the courtroom with a tie-dyed, painted Titanic Tony t-shirt on with sleeves cut out. He's an almost equivalently large fat fuck with a face painted white, sunglasses on, and for some reason, the white beret worn by Sergeant-at-Arms Nick Barrett of the Cult of Cornette Wrestling Integrity Watchers Club. So what in the hell is going on here? He's in gimmick.
Is he the iceberg that the Titanic hit? Is Titanic Tony the iceberg? By the way, does that pass the name test, Titanic Tony?
Yeah, for this guy, yeah.
All right. Well, again, it's important to note the People's Court allegedly went to small claims court and would find people who were actually suing people and bring them in with the agreement that everyone will get paid and everyone will get on TV.
Right. So his legitimate cases have started that way, but now this has been severely showbizzed up because these motherfuckers realize this may be the only time they'll ever get on television.
Let's go back to the footage from the People's Court in 1998.
This is the defendant, Jack Martin, a professional wrestler, a.k.a. the Behemoth. He points out he's a third-generation professional wrestler. His grandfather was Haystacks Calhoun. His mother is known as Black Venus, and his uncle is Gorgeous George. He says he did everything possible to train the plaintiff, but the guy's ego got in the way. He had a gimmick before he even knew the basic moves. He's accused of putting a sleeper hold on a wrestler-to-be's dream.
All right, let me stop it here for a moment.
This guy, he's wearing a giant flowered print dress. He's all gimmicked up. He's got what looks like a fucking Barbie doll in his hand. The other clown's his manager. This whole thing has been gimmicked up. It's as phony as a football bat. Go ahead.
And this is Boss Hog Calhoun, who was now the Behemoth. He said also, what was it? His grandmother was Black Venus and his godfather?
His uncle was Gorgeous George.
His uncle was Gorgeous George. That's what it was. Let's go back to this, the People's Court, with Judge Ed Koch.
The defendant has filed a countersuit for $900, the balance due for the training.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
I had no training whatsoever.
Your Honor.
I hit the floor and I felt those. If I was trained, I would have known how to take the fall and I wouldn't have got hurt.
This is the bumper, by the way, as they're showing video footage. You can keep it rolling, Brian, but as they show video footage going to the break of the guy in the dress in the ring in a parking lot kicking the fucking other fellow.
Well, let's go back to this. I'm going to go past the commercials here, or at least I hope I did. Back to the People's Court.
Real, the litigants are not actors. In this case, they are real wrestlers locked in a legal war. The issue, did the defendant take advantage of a wannabe wrestler and shatter his dreams? It's the case of Titanic Tony versus the mighty Behemoth.
The plaintiff
That definition of real wrestler is the most generous one I've ever heard.
Titanic Tony, is that correct? And you are suing the defendant for return of monies that you gave to him.
That's
is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Will you please explain?
Okay, well, basically we got into an agreement on June 2nd that the Behemoth was going to train me to be a professional wrestler. I gave him a deposit of $300 to show good faith and that I was very much interested in it. The training was supposed to start in July, was supposed to end in September. And in June, the end of June, I gave him another $300 because I was very anxious to get it over with, you know, get my license and actually start. July came and went, no training took place. August came and went, no training took place. Now, this was a life dream of mine. I've always wanted to do it, and I felt I gave him the money in good faith. Either.
Well, did you have a conversation with him? Did you talk to him?
And say, yes,
Christ. Let me stop it for a moment.
I've just got to, not only is this guy just so preposterous looking visually, but now as I'm getting a shot of Ed Koch, he looks like Al Lewis on the set of the Munsters. What the fuck with it? He's the most normal one here, and he looks like Grandpa Munster.
When do we start the training?
I have. I asked him in July. He came up with many excuses why.
Tell me what they were.
Well, at one time it was his tooth had to be taken out, and he was in the hospital all morning. And
so you were never the subject of training?
No, sir.
Not one day?
Not one day.
On June 13th.
Yeah. Tell me when you trained him.
Was taken to a WAA wrestling show in Connecticut. He started his training as a ballet, which would be a manager, to start learning what we call psychology in the business. You have to learn how to act in front of a crowd.
On June 13th.
Oh, good God.
Let me stop it for a second there. Obviously, it is important to learn psychology. What do you think when you hear someone, you had no idea who this person was, and you were the person literally booking talent for the WWF during this period of time in the Northeast?
Yeah, well, no, that's the problem, is that a bunch of these fucking guys, and it's not just confined to one part of the country, but in all seriousness, we'll get back to making fun of this thing that's going on in front of us, because these guys have set this up. They just want to get on TV. They figured out some way to set this up because they're working already. They're not genuine. The guy that's complaining, if he took the paint off his face, he'd look like any gopher Dennis Corleuzzo ever used on a show in New Jersey. But people convince these guys that they are someone that I used to work under a mask, and they, in the days especially where there was no internet and you could just sway and easily fucking led guys' mind around, they got away with this, where just because they were big fat fuck, you'd think they were a wrestler and they could make people believe it, and they'd take money and take off. But these guys are working together on this, I guarantee you. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. That's an interesting theory there. Let's see what happens.
I escorted him to a show, at which time I escorted him to the ring. I carried his bags, and that was to the extent I sold his pictures, and I took a beating outside the ring. That's what it consisted of.
What else?
Now, let me go back.
Let me ask you a question. The professional wrestling that we see on television, that's all phony baloney, right?
Choreographed, right to word. Entertainment.
Choreographed, the falls, the...
Entertainment.
Can I interject something so we can work again?
If he likes, Mr. Cox.
Sports entertainment.
It's entertainment, I understand that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you were going to train him to be able to take the pratfalls, as they say in showbiz.
Pratfall punches.
Right.
Drop kicks.
Right.
What do you think of the disrespect? Is that disrespectful, the way Ed Koch is saying all that?
Not to these people. Look at the sight of these people. They're so visually ridiculous. You couldn't have. That's my problem with this kind of indie garbage. You can't have any respect for anybody that looks like this for doing anything.
You understood that or not?
Oh, yeah, no, I understood that fully, but it never happened.
No, but you didn't think that wrestling was on the up and up.
No, well, let's clarify. Some things are real. You can't fake a head, getting hit in the head with a chair. You can't fake jumping off a cage onto a desk. I mean, some stuff, it's a little bizarre, but
when he picks you up, and
all
he
classic wrestling maneuvers.
Is that what he wanted to be trained for? Those are the examples he's using? No, you can't fake a broken ankle. You can't.
Right. And he steps on your head, all phony.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And it's agreed in advance who's going to win, who's going to lose?
Well, I've never gotten that far.
It is agreed in advance to the promoter who wins and who loses. It counts on how popular you might be.
So that was part of the training, wasn't it?
I don't consider that training, because at no time did anybody sit there and tell me what was going to happen.
They didn't tell you what to do.
Right, exactly. I just sat there taking a beating.
Isn't that a fact?
That's a lie.
That's not a lie. It's the truth.
What did you do?
The lie is we stayed at a hotel 3 hours before the match on that night. he sat there with the 4 other wrestlers that were involved in the match. He was told what to do. I showed him how to take a punch, how to land over, so when he throws a man...
Demonstrate for me.
Gregory's one of my other students.
Demonstrate for me.
Gregory,
sprays himself with ice water.
Oh, wait, Gregory comes in. He's not even the guy with the marked belt. He's just standing there.
Right,
oh, good Lord. He just took a bump in the middle of the court for a punch.
Gregory, get up and do
this guy looks like a 400-pound woman in a dress beating the shit out of this guy.
On the People's Court. That's bumps on the People's Court.
Why is he wearing a dress? Do we ever get the answer to that from the judge?
I believe he does ask that question. I believe so.
Let me ask you something, Titanic Tony. Would you like him to do that to you?
No, sir. No, sir.
You don't want him to do that?
No, because he sprays himself with Lysol, and I just can't deal with the odor, sir.
But you knew that when you started with him.
Excuse me?
You knew that when you started with him. If you stand next to him, you must have smelled him.
Well, in the beginning, no, I didn't. But then afterwards,
why, you don't have good noses?
No. Anytime I saw him, we were like a distance, away. It wasn't. I was close.
By the way, Ed Koch is popping the room. If you look at the people, they're all laughing at this.
But I'm wanting Judge Judy. She would get more control over this.
When did you first find out that he stinks?
The first time I escorted him to the ring June 13th.
Okay.
When after
so
being
at
all
that
sweaty,
point you didn't want to be trained by him anymore?
No, actually I wanted to keep my distance.
Well, how can you keep quiet? Throw him in the shower.
Quiet.
He wouldn't bathe.
Quiet, or I'm going to have him beat you up.
We're here to say if he trained him
now,
or
let
not.
me ask you something.
Smelling has nothing to do with anything.
If you couldn't stand next to him,
brother,
how could he train you?
Training never took place, so it doesn't...
How could he train you if he wanted to?
Well, let me clarify, Your Honor.
So let's stop it there for a second. Ed Koch got him with this weird... All right, he smells, he stinks. You knew that.
The logic came back to bite it. They needed Jamie Dundee booking the fucking wrestlers on this show. They would have had a good argument.
What do you think? I mean, if this was a legit thing in any way, did they see the case and say, please come and gimmick? Like, we'll only do it if you guys come. I don't know. Again, we don't know exactly what Titanic Tony's gimmick is, really.
I think that probably maybe Titanic Tony really did sue this other fucking fat clown. But when they heard that People's Court had heard about their thing, they got together and they said, hey, we'll all come and gimmick and we'll do this and that. But they don't even have their story straight.
I wanted to learn the sport. I would deal with it. But the training never took place.
I understand, but if he wanted to, you would have rejected it, no?
I would have, but it's just to show you how much I really wanted to get it over with, how much I wanted to learn the sport, how much I wanted to be somebody.
No, you can't say anything.
And then the next thing, Your Honor, on the second, I have one basic question I ask every guy I trained, and I have some of my former students here. Do you have any heart conditions? Do you have any back conditions? No, I do not. No, I do not. Because if he would have said yes, I would never signed him.
That's a lie.
I would never spend the time on him.
That's a lie.
Okay, so I happen to find this out.
This guy is a walking medical condition.
You're talking about the behemoth, Boss Hog Calhoun?
The behemoth, yes. Boss Hog, he's a walking medical condition. How could you look at this guy and say he's going to ask anybody about their medical condition?
If you just look at the freeze frame we're on now, like you're embarrassed to be involved with wrestling. It just does not look like anything you'd want to be involved with.
That I didn't think of.
What did you find out?
Well, he had major back surgery, and he's got scars on his back. You wouldn't believe it. I'm going to show you a videotape with a back brace on it.
Do you have back injuries?
I had back injuries, yes, I do.
Does your doctor say you can be a wrestler even with this phony baloney?
No, sir. He wouldn't clear me.
So why did you want to be trained?
Because I wanted to do this. This is something I wanted to do from being a child.
Straight. Your doctor, in effect, says you're endangering your life.
That's right.
And notwithstanding that, you, like a fool, want to be trained in this.
You're right. You're right. This is what I wanted to do. And I didn't care.
Which one of these ladies
I didn't care if I would be paralyzed from the waist.
Let me pause it before we get to the mother here.
I was about to say, boy, you ought to see the videotape with a back brace on it. I can't believe they got that back brace around that videotape.
Jim, I don't know if anyone like this would have gotten to you in your position in OVW, but in terms of like wrestling trainees who are kind of maybe not built for the business, but they have this whole, I mean, it's kind of a modern attitude in a lot of ways. You know, this is a precursor to AEW's talent roster, maybe. The whole, I just always wanted to do it. It's been my dream. I dream about doing this. I have my own gimmick. I want to just do this. Did you encounter that a lot?
Well, not coming up to the door because we didn't welcome just strangers to wander in, but you would get videotapes and you would see guys like this on little small indie shows even back then, but you would discourage them from further contact.
Who do you think is winning so far?
So far, I think that the fat guy in the dress is overcoming the fat Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But let's see how it winds up.
Let's go back to the People's Court.
Rest of my life.
Did you raise a kid who wants to risk his life this way?
I spoke to his doctor, and his doctor told me he did not advise it. I argued with him. I told him, give this up. Leave it alone. He said, Ma, it's been my lifelong dream, you know that. I do know that. And
Yeah.
Mr. Martin guaranteed me my son would not get hurt.
How can he do that?
I don't know, but he did.
All you have to do is to kick him in the back or let him fall, and he can injure himself. Now, you said you
I
have
explained this
Who's
all
got a
to him.
video here?
There you go, Your Honor.
Let's see it.
Let's watch the antics of Titanic Tony.
We never asked him to do anything he wasn't trained to do.
Exactly.
It's our job to protect him.
Now, if I
Yeah,
never
that's not
trained him,
true
Your
either.
Honor, this man wouldn't
Train
be in the
my
ring
baloney.
doing these spots that we called to do. This man wouldn't be in the ring right now. This
Now,
man
is Tony
wouldn't
in the
learn
ring
these
now?
spots.
Yeah, that's me.
He's in there with the good-looking guy, Your Honor.
Oh, good Lord, they pulled his pants off already.
That's
They're
you with
sensing
the
his
belly
sweat
button
crack.
strip?
That's him with a back brace on.
There's a gap between his pants and his back brace, and that gap was filled by his ass. Apparently.
Yes, no, leave it, play it. I want to see more because I thought that was a beluga whale getting in the ring. That's the guy in the dress.
Oh, that's the back
It's not
brace.
it's not a back brace.
A girdle, maybe.
Well, maybe it is.
Sundays.
Listen,
This is
don't
called-
make fun of
this
his
is
wearing
called
the
a-
girdle.
That man, that
Your
was
Honor,
called
he
a
took-
spot. That's called a bump. If you not
Oh, good
caught
Lord.
that, you can't take that. You're hurt. You get hurt real
The
good.
guy in the dress kicks
Your Honor, he's done
like
that
a
since
Somebody was a man who-
That
he,
was
but he
not
dropped an elbow and nearly broke the ring.
taught to him.
It was a matter of you wanted to take the easy route when you found out you had to pay some dues and work for it. You're
No,
looking
that's
for an
not
easy
true.
way out.
That's not true.
No,
And you didn't even
This guy
Stop
started
it.
after you.
Now, when you said, just a moment, when
Let's stop it for a moment. What did you think of that footage there of Northeast Indie Wrestling that was completely off the radar?
Oh, and again, they're in a parking lot just outside with 16 people around the ring, but the fat guy's wearing a dress and the other guy's painted up, and there's another guy just in tennis shoes and a t-shirt, and they're just
That was his other student.
lathering around.
That was the same guy or kid or whatever.
Yeah, that he was just taking
Yeah.
bumps in the court here.
you said that he never trained you not a single day.
That's
What do you
correct.
call that?
That wasn't training.
What is that?
That was what it was. That was a barbecue that no other wrestlers showed
He's
up.
wrong, Your Honor.
And he needed somebody to get in the ring with him. And I was the one that got in the ring with him. But I had no training whatsoever.
Your Honor.
I hit the floor and I felt those. If I was trained, I would have known how to take the fall and I wouldn't have got hurt.
Did the defendant put the plaintiff in harm's way by not training him? The testimony continues.
Now, look.
Let's stop it there for a moment before we get to more. What are your thoughts now on this last little section we listened
Well,
to?
now we understand how he got booked. It was a barbecue and somebody else didn't show up. So they had to have a fourth for the fucking festivities.
You're beating him up.
Yeah, for 5 seconds.
Oh,
This is a commercial bumper for the next segment that's showing him beat up the behemoth. And it doesn't look trained at all.
There's something about Cameron Diaz.
Oh, and here's a commercial. for
Ooh,
something
there was
about Mary.
Cameron Diaz in a t-shirt. Ooh,
Eating.
oh, we're back
Is he
to the
right? He
People's
wasn't
Court.
trained properly. Let's listen.
What do you think training is?
Okay, but that was not something he showed me. That is something from watching it
Well,
for
then he's
30
not-
some odd
but
years
he gave
that I
you-
did.
His letter.
But did he not give you an opportunity? You couldn't have been in that ring without him, could you?
I think I could have. I really do.
How?
Because I've watched it long enough, and I was in
I
high
agree
school.
with that.
In junior high school.
Based on what you saw there, that was
based on what don't stop it. Leave him going. I'm just interjecting. I agree based on what I saw. He could have done that with no training.
Because he had nobody else to be there.
I would jeopardize his safety.
What else?
Okay, I'll give you some more. July 18th. This is a family barbecue that I run every year. I told Tony, he says, listen, you got 3 days, 3 weeks already, a couple dates that I do this. I think you're ready to do a match with myself, okay? This is on this tape here.
Let's see.
I think you're ready to do a match with myself. He was taught. He had the basic moves. I also told him.
So you were now, you're going to show me something where he's wrestling you?
Wrestling me, myself.
Taking a beating.
This is what we call a Pearl
They're
Harbor.
in the woods.
It's a move where me as a good.
See what he just said? This is what you call a Pearl Harbor. It's a move.
He splashes him from behind in the corner.
Guy sits
it's called Fat Guys Bumping Ugly.
You're beating him up.
Yeah, for 5 seconds.
Oh,
he didn't teach me that.
We didn't train him, but we trust him.
If you like
Jim, what do you think of that offense?
Holy God, the punches, the knees, the flabs, the cellulite.
Because he didn't.
A single day.
Because he didn't.
The
That is
fat
what I learned from
corpuscles.
watching it for all the years I'm watching.
Let me stop
Yeah,
it.
that's what he learned from watching TV for years and years.
Let me stop it for a second. Is it ever acceptable for a wrestling school trainer after, at most, a couple of sessions, saying, all right, you're ready to work a match with me in front of a crowd?
Not this trainer, no. Usually not any trainer, but especially not this. This trainer wasn't ready to be in front of a crowd unless it was a goddamn bariatric surgery team.
But the fact is that simply submitting to you and allowing himself to be beaten that way is part of the training, isn't it?
I don't agree.
If you like to watch this whole match on it, which is it's extensively kind of long, maybe 7 or 8 minutes.
It's not 7
I
or 8
guarantee you
minutes.
6 minutes of that match, I took a full beating from him.
That's
and then what we
baloney.
call,
The whole match took 4 minutes.
if we call a big guy getting over, I beat him in one move, 1, 2, 3, which is a choreographed. It's what we do.
And again, we protected our students.
Let me hear
God, now they're all blown up and they're
done
just wandering around. And the guys, it's what we call. Who call? You've read it on the internet, you fat, disgusting fuck.
It's what we call going over.
Since he was a kid. They made a ring in the park. He used to do it with her and with all the other boys on the block. He used to take my
Hey,
pillowcases and
sis
make them
looks
into
hot.
face
I bet
masks.
she's fucked a
Another
Gotti member
thing,
or two.
you
be
see,
nice.
I'm in gimmick. I'm the behemoth. I think I'm a dolly. This man is.
You're a what?
I'm a doll.
A doll.
Yeah, I come from Bellevue. I think I'm a lunatic who thinks he's a doll. You can
don't
see that.
think you are.
He does take on that persona, though, when he puts
This
it
man is a 25-year veteran.
Let me get something straight. Your
I'm gonna prove a
your
point.
shtick is that you're a lunatic?
I'm a lunatic from Bellevue who thinks he's a doll.
Okay.
Okay? That's my gimmick. I'm a lunatic.
I understand.
Crazy-
Listen,
Crazy
you
Don Rock.
explained this is all shtick.
Right. Now,
Okay.
if you notice, Crazy Don Rock is also in gimmick. He's a lunatic from Bellevue. It says right on his shirt. Guardian Angel is the heavyweight champion of New York right now.
Never even heard of
You don't see any gimmick on Greg, do you?
No.
You know why? He's not trained. He's only through his training. This man is nowhere near being trained.
he's
The
got a
only one
gimmick.
I'd
Look at
let
it.
park my
always had it.
car.
Let's stop for a second.
The others are complete raving lunatics. There's this guy standing there with like a fucking mope.
He looks like he doesn't want to be anywhere near the rest of them.
He never had. If he had a gimmick, then he lied for me right from the start from this
Well,
letter.
look at that.
This fella's a
Isn't that a
student.
gimmick?
He's a mark. What we
understand,
refer to
Your
as a
Honor?
mark.
This
What
guy
does a
had-
mark mean?
A mark is what these people are. A mark
fan
is
that
a
wants to become
fan
a professional.
that likes to watch professional wrestling.
But ain't that how we
That
all start
absorbs
out?
it, that sleeps with it, that talks about it, will give up food for it.
Now, this man
That's
states
a
in his
mark.
letter he had nothing to do with professional wrestling. He didn't know nothing but call a couple schools and get a couple prices. This man had a gimmick. He put the carriage on the express while he left the horse in the stables.
All right, so you
Let me pause it for a second,
What
Jim.
the I don't even know now what they're saying, but the on-screen poll indicates that people are 71 to 29 on the defendant's side, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, rather than the 450-pound grandmother.
What are your thoughts on a wrestling school student, if this is indeed true, showing up in gimmick or with a gimmick that they want to be?
That would be fabulous. That would be entertainment for the whole fucking day by the time all the boys and the trainers finished with that guy. No, that wouldn't be done.
That he didn't perform, and you want your $600 back.
Right, because I'm going to go to a reputable school that was given to me by the state.
And you believe in your countersuit what?
I trained him, and I also have other dates.
You believe he should pay you the balance?
Yeah, because I would have spent my time. I would have spent my time and my abilities on somebody that would finish and not gave up like Mr. Titanic.
I didn't give up. Can I say something? Yeah. In his eyes, to be a professional wrestler takes 1 day.
I could train you.
1 day. Oh, I could train you to be a professional wrestler.
But then listen,
wrestlers today take years.
You cannot say that. Firstly, if it takes years, why did you agree to 3 months?
Because I thought that it's a stepping stone and I could follow up with a school once I get my license.
Well, then you believed he could train you.
Yes, I did.
Can I say one thing?
Who are you?
I'm his wife. When he first came over, he was told, yes, I
can
show you the 5 basic moves in 1 day. 24 hours, I could show you the 5 basic moves.
1 day.
But it takes months, maybe even years, to get that all down pat and to get the psychology, why this is done, why you don't do that to this one.
You need a yardstick to measure the distance between that girl's eyes. They're almost on opposite sides of her head. She's the most sensible one so far, but my God, look at the state of her physically. She looks like a goddamn artichoke woman.
Well, the hair doesn't help.
In the business, she knows more than he does.
That's what he was told.
Because she took the checks. Be realistic. I had to make the checks out to her.
Yes.
Because your bank.
Don Rock said it.
Yes.
Your
My
bank
son,
was in Nassau County.
One at a time.
Don Rock said it. My son was a mark.
She just said your bank was in Nassau County. This guy's from Nassau County. That's interesting.
And they saw a chance to rip him off for the money.
Yeah.
Asked him about all the dates that I was excluded from training at Gleason's gym.
Never.
Yes, that's a lie.
Never.
That's a lie. You're a liar. You took, Greg,
You
didn't call me Thursday night. The last time I had spoke to your husband was on a Monday.
I was in a school for 3 years, Your Honor. Okay?
Right, so it took you 3 years
3 years.
to do it.
The reason I was in
And you're
school
trying
to figure out how to open the door and get out.
That. You said you wanted 3 months.
I said I wanted to learn. The training was to take place Saturday and Sunday.
There's nothing there's nothing in the agreement.
Friday,
there's
Saturday
nothing in the agreement that says that.
He said it verbally. I worked a 9-to-5 job. I was willing
I also told him
but you also
to go with him, and he never called me. He's a liar.
On the
also
days,
told him verbally it might take close to years.
Just a moment.
Training.
No, what I'm saying is I was not trained. Yeah, I accompanied him
okay, I
on a
understand.
show. I paid for
Got
my
it. I'm taking a recess. I'll be back shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Koch is going to apply.
Well, they're going to recess, Jim. What are your thoughts?
You know what? The wife looks like Margie, the girl in the Tammy's Tips videos. Maybe come from the same family. It's 84-16 now.
Against Titanic Tony.
Against Titanic. So it's for the grandmother in the fucking dress. The giant behemoth. All right, let's finish this thing up.
We've heard what you have thought about this. Let's find out what the people think, too. Let's get some of their thoughts.
Courts him down here, pretty much the same thing. Let's find out. What do you think?
I think the plaintiff put too much money into a childhood dream other than a career, and he was looking into the past as being a professional wrestler other than the future.
Should he get his money back?
No, I don't think he should. I think that the defendant trained him the way that he was supposed to train him, but he thought he was a pro before his training was over.
Cart before the horse, as they say. You say?
If he had a bad back, he should have never got into wrestling.
What about the issue of fraud here, that he defrauded the guy?
They basically both look like they defrauded each other. Nobody should get anything.
I think that the defendant should get it because the plaintiff lied to him all the way, and he told him before he was going to train exactly what's going to happen. I was going to train you a day or 3 months, and he went right along with it.
Concurrent opinion by your son. That's pretty much the view down here.
Is this the middle of the day? They're just walking down through the mall or something? They're standing in the mall getting people. These people can vote. That's another thing. That's sad. This is a heel program. Nobody deserved anything out of this.
It's an interesting mix of people here, just like you said, middle of the day, ready to talk about this entire case. Let's go back to the People's Court.
They hate the fact that the plaintiff lied about his back. Let's find out what the judge thinks.
What we have here is a young man, Titanic Tony, who has an obsession. I think you will admit that.
Yes, I do.
You should take him to a psychiatrist. He is endangering his life. He is your son. You have to get someone who can work on his obsession and eliminate it. Jack Martin enters into a contract. He fulfills the contract, in my judgment, and Titanic Tony decides he wants to end the contract because he's not satisfied with the training. But he has not convinced this court that Jack Martin failed in that training, just the reverse. The dates, the video, and I find in favor of the defendant in the amount of $900.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's not justice.
Good Lord.
That's anything but
Pain
justice.
and lobotomy time.
That ain't justice at all.
So tight. Let's stop it there before the promos at the end.
There ain't no justice in the world. You know, honestly, this, again, I think this bunch was all working together because they saw they had an opportunity to be on television. There was probably a legitimate gripe. But this is the kind of outlaw bullshit that people... But this guy that fell for the trainer is a simpleton. Because you can take one look at this guy, and even before the internet where you couldn't check people out, you could see that he was a ridiculously large piece of shit. And how this guy thought that he was going to become a pro wrestler of any stature by working at the guy's barbecues, I have no idea. But they're both idiots that preyed on each other.
You think it's too easy to rent a ring at at Gleason's gym?
Well, yeah, that when they mentioned Gleason's gym that was a legitimate place at one point, but
still is.
This guy was just renting their ring and using their name. And so, you'll get to train there at Gleason's gym. Well, maybe not.
Let's get the promos here at the end, the post-match promos.
Titanic Tony takes another beating. Here comes Titanic Tony.
Down again.
Well, you're a man who said he would die for his dream.
Damn straight.
I think everybody in the courtroom and watching this case, their hearts must go out to you because they can relate to a person who would die for his dreams. So what do you do now?
Go on. I don't agree with what Judge Cott said about a psychiatrist, but yeah, I wanted to do it. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with it. I don't live it 24 hours a day. I do work a Monday to Friday job. It's just something I wanted to do. It's a dream that I wanted to fulfill. And
you're using the past tense there. Do you still?
Well, I have to get burned this time. I don't think I'll be too quick to get burned again, so.
You're not giving up on your dream, are you?
Well, after this, I just might, because it just ain't worth the aggravation.
Hopefully he will.
Let me stop for a second. That's not him on his shirt. What is that on his shirt? It's just some guy with a
life preserver that says Titanic Tony around his fucking neck. But maybe that's the only Titanic Tony shirt he could find, and he didn't have the budget to have one made.
All right, Tony.
Thank you. I appreciate
Titanic
it.
Tony.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Take it easy on Josephine. Hurry up.
Jack
Here they come.
Martin did know that my son's back was bad because that was the first thing I told him. So he lied in court.
Well, and you always
Here comes
listen to
Jack
Mama.
Martin right now. Here comes the behemoth. And here...
We know it.
With his manager acting in gimmick like a nut.
Guys, Captain Kirk.
We needed that.
Captain Kirk, beam me up. Where's Mr. Spock?
Calm down. As you were saying.
Come down. Kirk wants to say something to you.
Heavyweight champion of New York.
Is everything under control?
Absolutely.
We're lunatics from Bellevue. What do you think everything is under control?
Justice was served, and the Koch was very, very astute, and he's a man of honor.
You didn't take advantage of Titanic.
The Koch was very, very astute.
The Koch was very astute. These are fat guys in their 40s playing wrestling promo. And they've done this in front of their VHS camera, sort of like some of the kids on TV we see these days. But they don't even have anything prepared. They're just trying to do it off the top of their head.
This is likely the only time they've ever been on TV with their wrestling that they tell everyone they do. Well, hold on, let's go back to the end of it.
Tony, did you?
Not in the slightest. I gave him everything, and top it off, I became his friend, and he just pretty much, how can I say? Well, let me ask you a question. Didn't the Titanic sink third night out, too?
Not only that, Kurt.
Okay.
I learned a lot from these lunatics. I mean, these guys. And let me tell you, I've been in the business 7 years, and it's been great.
And watch this guy.
All right.
In 2 years, he's going to be one of the greatest high players of all time.
You can keep this in mind.
Thank you.
We were fooled, but Judge Koch wasn't fooled.
All right. Josephine's got your documents right down the hallway.
Great to meet you. And tell Mr. Sewell I want to say hello one day. Okay.
Much meet her in person.
Okay,
you know
that's Kurt, C-U-R-T.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Harvey, back to you.
Well, all right, let's cut it there. What do you think of the promo ability of the Behemoth and Crazy Don Rock?
This is the kind of videos that we would get. People would send it into the WWF office sometime that I would be watching every now and then, that they legitimately thought they were somehow part of the conversation or needed to be. And I can understand fooling yourself, but I can't understand anybody being fooled by some of these people.
The Guardian Angel said he's been in the business 7 years. These guys are, these guys are real pros, but there it is, the People's Court, 1998. The Behemoth, Crazy Don Rock, and of course, Titanic Tony. But Jim, with that,
yes.
Where's this? And by the way, songs next week. Songs return. A big holiday time of year. Songs return next year.
Songs sung blue. Everybody knows one.
It's just not working out today. It's just not.
Yeah, it sounded like David Carradine walking across the desert in Kung Fu.
All right. Well, on that note, I don't even know what to say. We'll be back in a few days on the Jim Cornette Experience. And of course, next week back here on the Drive-Thru, the big John Cena Saturday night's main event last match coming up. And lots more classic segments about the ages of wrestlers in 1984 to come. Stay tuned. Of course, the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Jim Cornette. Full episodes, Clip City episodes, omnibus collections, all with the very popular George Livinitis artwork, as well as our great guest artists like Freeman and Steve McGuinness, the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel, patreon.com/Cornette. $5 a month gets you access to the archive going back to 2013. Patreon.com/Cornette. Cornette's collectibles at JimCornette.com. Save me!
Well, right now, if you order quickly, we'll charge you with felony secret peeping at JimCornette.com.
At JimCornette.com, the Drive-Thru is brought to you by the loves of Stephen P. New, 87750-STEVE. Get even with Stephen.
And he can defend you from felony secret peeping.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he'll take on
I wonder
that
if there's a charge of felony secret pooping. If you just went to somebody's backyard, took a shit, didn't tell them.
87750-STEVE. Get even with Stephen. NewLawOffice.com. Listen to the wrestling news each and every day wherever you find your favorite podcast or at thewrestlingnews.com. But
yeah, I got to take a shit. Wrap it up.
Until the experience in a few God damn, it's late. Until the experience in a few days, and next week back here on the Drive-Thru for Jim Cornette, I'm the great Brian Last. Tally ho!